week of June. We're going to talk about why it is so stinking hot right now. But thank you for joining us for your only live local newscast with the big breaking stories happening at this hour. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. It's bad enough when it's a Monday, and then it's hot out and gross outside. That's even worse. All right, thanks for joining us. We do have to talk about new details in this deadly gator attack that took place. A 31-year-old gets attacked while her boyfriend and her best friend are there as the gator clamps down on her.
Yeah, your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is live near the area where this happened, the Barr Street trailhead, close to where that group was. Catherine, Florida Fish and Wildlife gave an update on this situation this afternoon. What did they say?
Yeah, they said this is just absolutely a tragic event. FWC officers still don't know whether they have caught the gator that was involved in this attack, but they did tell us that 2 have been harvested from this area about a half a mile from the trailhead in the Econ River. One is 12 foot. The other is a 13-foot gator. Now, we learned as much as we could from FWC in their update late this afternoon. They say the woman's boyfriend actually kept hold of her and tried to get her from the alligator's mouth until it released. They say she is 31 years old and she was from Orlando. She was apparently hiking with her boyfriend and best friend yesterday. They stopped to swim, and then this happened. She was in about 3 feet of water and she was bitten on both of her arms. Is there any indication that the alligator was just surprised or why this might have happened?
It could be any number of things. You know, with low water levels that we have, we are coming into the end of mating season. Alligators become very territorial. So it's any number of things. It's really hard to speculate and pinpoint what the exact reason was.
Now, FWC is waiting to release the 31-year-old woman's name until all of her family has been notified. They tell us she does have some family from out of state. They are also waiting to confirm whether one of the 2 gators that they harvested is actually that gator that was involved. Lab results will be able to give them that answer. They told us that the 13-foot gator was found in the exact spot where this happened, and the 12-foot gator was found nearby. I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
My gosh, when you hear just how big those gators were, and there's no surviving anything like that. Catherine, thank you. We look forward to your reporting later on this afternoon.
Sizes,
yeah, just huge and just sad that that had to happen. All right, turning our attention now to our forecast. Our meteorologists have designated this a weather aware day. Yeah, and we're aware of the weather.
We are aware of this.
So
for sure. We knew when we walked in from our cars. Meteorologist Julie Broughton, it's going to be a steamy one for a lot of people.
Right. So we have a weather aware day that's kind of twofold. Of course, we're dealing with the heat. We're also dealing with a level 1 out of 5 risk for some strong to severe storms. So here's that heat advisory we have in place. That includes just about all of our counties. And we also, again, have that level 1 out of 5. So that marginal risk for some strong to severe storms. Let's start with the radar and show you what we're dealing with right now. Now, we don't have any advisories in place, but we are seeing some pockets of heavier showers. We'll start out to the north for you, show you up across Umatilla. Areas like Umatilla seeing some heavier rain as we go down toward Lake Mary, some pockets of heavier rain. Some of that now has pushed off to the east of Christmas, moving over toward areas like Bellwood, Port St. John, and Canaveral Acres. And as we go a little bit farther to the south, you're also seeing some showers and some lightning at times in southern Brevard County. And we'll see these showers increasing, I think, through the next couple of hours with that threat of some stronger storms sticking around, likely till about 8 or 9 o'clock. We'll, of course, be here watching it and, of course, let you know just how hot we got today. Some spots have already been up to around 95.
Okay, so I was in Brevard County today, and you know when you have around Thanksgiving and you bake a turkey and that little red thing pops out,
yes.
You know, I'm done. I am completely,
You're fully cooked?
I'm fully cooked on the inside. It was ridiculous.
I think you said it felt like you had charcoal on your head.
That as well. That as well. I'll have some more analogies.
All these, give us all the descriptions, Ginger. All right, Julie Broughton. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, well, there's just no easy way to say this. The new numbers are coming out from Venezuela. More than 1,400 people is the latest number we're getting of the amount of folks who have died after 2 devastating earthquakes.
Yeah, and couple that with tens of thousands of people who are still missing in all of this. Rescue teams from the U.S. and other countries are helping out, and the search, and well, it's not even a rescue anymore because it's been so long, but they are still searching for survivors, possibly in that rubble, which would be a miracle. CBS correspondent Camilo Montaño Galvez has the latest.
We saw scenes of utter devastation in hard-hit La Guaira after 2 deadly earthquakes struck Venezuela last week. In the rubble, you could see remnants of people's lives, stuffed animals, a passport, and a kindergarten graduation diploma. Tens of thousands of Venezuelans are still presumed to be missing, and the clock is ticking.
You're seeing scores of people and rescue workers from across the globe desperately looking for any signs of life.
Some even digging with their bare hands. In Caracas, outside of a hospital, we saw loved ones scouring lists of patients, looking for any missing relatives. Genesis Fonseca was there bringing soup to her 6-year-old nephew, Maximiliano, who survived the quakes, while his mother did not.
What is it that you will miss the most about your sister?
Hay todo. Su cariño, el amor que nos teníamos.
Everything, the love we had for one another, she told us. Amid the tragedy, moments of hope. Like this one, a man pulled out alive by rescue teams. And an infant, trapped for days, also found alive. On Saturday, Kayla Serpa's nephew Kenger was also rescued. Serpa told us her 2 nephews and sister lived in a building that came crashing down. 11-year-old Kenger was the sole survivor. Serpa had a message for the U.S. We need more support, she says. More help. U.S. diplomat John Barrett says there are over 300 American rescuers on the ground.
We were with Venezuela before the earthquake, and we're even closer to Venezuela after the earthquake.
The pain and loss we have seen here in La Guaira is impossible to quantify. We've heard from people who've lost their homes, their children, their spouses, and their siblings. But there are still signs of hope. Just this morning, in this destroyed building behind us, volunteers heard the cries of a woman, and they're now trying to see if they can rescue her alive. Camilo Montoya Galvez, CBS News, La Guaira, Venezuela.
Just unthinkable loss there.
But that baby that was pulled out of the rubble, though.
Miraculous.
That's unbelievable.
Days after it happened. All right, well, let's get back closer to home. The families of 4 Central Florida men who have been seeking justice for decades might get some semblance of that. Let's talk about the Groveland 4 here. 4 black 16-year-olds, Charles Greenleaf, Walter Irvin, Samuel Shepard, and Ernest Thomas, were falsely accused of raping a white woman in 1949. 2 were killed before the case went to trial, one by a mob, the other during a jail transfer. The 2 surviving members of what are known as the Groveland 4 were found guilty by all-white juries. Today, Governor DeSantis announced that he signed legislation offering $4 million to the families.
There's historical precedent for, when you're righting wrongs to be able to do the claims. And, I know I talked with a lot of members of both the Senate leadership and the Black Caucus. They felt strongly about it. And so we were supportive.
The last member of the Groveland 4 died in 2012. 4 years later, Lake County and the city of Groveland apologized for the injustice. In 2019, the governor issued pardons for the men, and a judge fully exonerated them in 2021.
It is just so sad that they never lived to see
got to witness it,
that,
but at least
their
some of their families have.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, 2 people are facing charges accused of running an illegal tool shop out of a local neighborhood. Back in March, Volusia Sheriff's Office detectives went to a home on South San Sui Avenue in DeLand. Inside, they found thousands of dollars in stolen tools and other merchandise. The Sheriff's Office says they've now arrested Tyler Cherry and Jared Bennett for fraud, grand theft, and other charges. Investigators say Cherry illegally obtained Lowe's credit cards, which he and Bennett used to steal $50,000 worth of stuff, which they then sold on Facebook Marketplace. Cherry is being held on no bond. His bond was set at $115,000.
You see a lot of brand new in-the-box stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and you have to wonder,
where'd it come from?
Why are they sending this back right now? Well, one of the best football players to ever come out of Central Florida is now facing some challenges off the field. This guy really a legend in the NFL. Olympia High School standout Chris Johnson announced today he's been diagnosed with ALS. Johnson, speaking through a speech-generating device based on past recordings of his voice, said there's no history of the disease in his family. Studies have shown retired NFL players face a significantly higher risk of developing this compared to people in the general population, with some estimating they're 3 times more likely, potentially due to excessive head trauma. At his peak, Johnson, one of the best running backs in the NFL, one of only 9 players in league history to have rushed for 2,000 yards in a season, which that happened back in 2009 with the Tennessee Titans. He was lightning fast and explosive to watch, and just really tough news for his family.
It's really tough to see that, but really brave on them for coming out and speaking out, because hopefully this will help figure out some things for other players too. 39 years old. All right, well, NASA is preparing for a rescue operation, but don't be alarmed. This one does not involve astronauts, or we would have told you about it sooner, right? NASA launched the Neil Gehrels Swift Observatory from our Space Coast in November of 2004. Recent increased solar activity pushed the telescope further down into Earth's orbit, but rather than letting it be dragged down to Earth, NASA contracted a company to build a satellite to meet up, grab, and lift the telescope back to its original orbit over the course of several months. Just that whole sentence that I just said is crazy.
It reminds me of that movie Armageddon,
Yes,
you know, where the
it's
meteor
insane
is
that they did
coming
that.
and they fly
Okay.
something out
All
there.
right, so let's continue. That satellite is set to launch just before 6:30 a.m. South Pacific. Officials say it'll extend the telescope's lifespan while also creating a blueprint for servicing spacecraft that weren't designed for on-orbit maintenance. That is insane that they can. I can't get a repair person to come to my house in a car, but NASA's sending this thing up to go
headed up into space to
near the sun.
Adjust
That's crazy.
its orbit.
I love
Wow,
it. I
very
love
cool
it.
stuff. All right, after the break, decades of Central Florida history get unearthed.
Yeah, and a change coming to a very busy Central Florida road.
Going back to 1976, I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting at Orlando City Hall. These are the contents of a time capsule that was buried right here in the City Beautiful 50 years ago, and on Monday morning it was opened for the first time. Buried at Lake Eola by the Kiwanis Club of Orlando, this time capsule was long forgotten, with no official record marking its existence. It was recently discovered during construction, and after some research, it was found to have been placed in the ground in 1976, when Orlando only had a population of 116,000, meant for us to open 50 years later. With cassette tapes, a phone book, newspapers, and so much more from that era of American history, it gave a peek into life back then.
A lot of the items are just very reminiscent of the bicentennial, but also there's a lot of information in there. There are a lot of keepsakes from the various Kiwanis clubs around Central Florida. So it kind of makes it really special for Kiwanis, actually.
It's still unclear how the items will be preserved. And in 50 years from now, another time capsule could be opened right here in Orlando. The Kiwanis Club is working to put one together to give the future City Beautiful a peek into the past. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Always find that interesting, no matter when we see it. All right, well, several roads in Central Florida are having their speed limits lessened.
News 6 traffic safety expert Trooper Steve gives us a look.
Orange County has approved the reduction in speed limits to several of these roadways, including this one right here, Conway Road. It's a big transient roadway that goes from 408 down towards the airport. Speed limit out here for majority is 40 miles an hour. They could be dropping that down to 30. Now, this isn't going to be the only reduction in speed. Narcoossee Road, Fern Creek, Crystal Lake will all see drops in their speed limit over the next coming weeks. Now, of course, there'll be signage advising drivers of the reduction in speed, but this is big for drivers to know because it puts you in a completely different bracket of speed violations. So, what do I always say? Make sure you are paying attention to the signs because that's your first warning. I'm your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, News 6.
All right, still to come here on News 6 at 3, the new safety feature, a popular ride-sharing app, is rolling out.
And the high-powered technology the U.S. government is set to release.
I'm News 6 anchor Lauren Melendez. The U.S. government making a decision about Anthropic's new AI model, and Uber is unveiling some new background checks for drivers. So let's talk about it all with Maribel Aber and today's Money Matters. Okay, so this is to help riders feel safer.
Lauren, let's break it down. So it got a little harder to become an Uber driver. The ride-hailing company expanded its list of criminal offenses that bar people from using the app to find drivers. Now, previously, people convicted of crimes like violent felonies and child abuse could drive if those convictions were at least 7 years old. Now, anyone convicted of those crimes is permanently barred from driving for Uber, regardless of when the conviction occurred. The new policy also applies to the company's courier services, including Uber Eats. You know, Lauren, I remember when these ride-hail/share companies came out thinking, you're still hitching a ride with a stranger. You're just paying for it now.
Right. I mean, and so it's normalized now. But again, as we see that become more useful and expansive, these safety checks have to also do the same thing. So
vetting.
Great information there. Let's talk about the security concerns from the government. They are now allowing Anthropic's AI model.
The government has given Anthropic the go-ahead to release its powerful Mythos AI model to select companies and organizations. It was previously blocked from export over national security concerns. The Commerce Department says it worked with Anthropic to address those risks, and earlier this month, Anthropic disabled all customer access to Mythos to comply with the government's order. Its less powerful AI model, Fable, remains unavailable. So we're watching that one closely, Lauren.
All right, Maribel, thank you so much. Remember to get the latest money and consumer news anytime. Just head to our website, clickorlando.com.
All right, Americans, you need to show more money. Show me the money, right? All right.
Hey, show more money, too.
You'll need more than ever to retire, at least comfortably anyway. Northwestern Mutual's annual finance planning report puts the retirement magic number at $1.46 million. That's up about $250,000 from just last year. Nearly half of the more than 4,300 adults surveyed said that they are nowhere near that goal. Rising healthcare costs, concerns about losing long-term disability, and uncertainty over Social Security's future all play a role in this. The report says a more attainable target for Americans is to replace roughly 80% of pre-retirement income.
Okay, and that probably depends on a number of factors. Do you own your house? Are you still paying a mortgage? What does your healthcare situation look like?
I mean, are you still paying off all kinds of loans and things like that? Do you have kids who you're helping? So many factors.
You gotta watch those kids, man. Those things are expensive. Well, it's true. A flight from Florida had a near miss last week, but it wasn't with another plane.
And we almost hit a drone right there at Gimme, United 1513, about 100 feet below us.
Right where you're at now?
Exactly.
This is destined to happen
of
soon,
course.
And we don't really know what the implications will be. In air traffic control audio, the pilot says they almost hit that drone. Pilot describes the device as circular, about 3 feet wide. United said the flight had 106 passengers, 5 crew. The flight from Key West landed safely at Newark Liberty International Airports in New Jersey. According to air traffic control audio from around the same time, another pilot flying into Newark also reported seeing a drone at about 2,000 feet. The FAA prohibits the use of drones in these controlled airspaces near manned aircraft without official, explicit permission. Despite that, the agency says there are about 100 drone sightings per month near U.S. airports.
They're going to be able to find who that drone belongs to, because that person had to have known that you're not supposed to be flying near. I mean, so many awful things could have happened there.
Yeah, you can take a class and figure out exactly where you're allowed to fly a drone, and it is nowhere near a commercial airport, that's for sure. We're less than a week away from America's 250th birthday. It's a big deal. How first responders are already preparing for potentially more calls. That's coming up.
And coming up on the news ahead at 4 o'clock, have you ever wondered why one business is so close to a similar one? The new rules being debated in Orlando to limit how many smoke shops can be near one another. All right, welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. You know, nowadays it is not uncommon for people to have a side hustle. In fact, this job is Matt Austin's side hustle. Many people use their own spare time to sell stuff on social media.
Yeah, but one law enforcement officer is in a little trouble for selling stuff for what it appears is on the job, in uniform. Let's bring in investigator Mike DeForest. So, Mike, this one really caught your attention.
I think maybe some of us who are use social media kind of wrestle of where is that line between our professional lives and our personal lives, and sometimes that can be blurred. Sometimes the rules are clear, sometimes they're not. Well, this is a story about a law enforcement officer who has a TikTok page, sells things on there in her personal time, personal clothes, doesn't identify herself as a law enforcement officer in most cases. And the rules in her department are that's perfectly fine. Challenges, recently she started posting TikTok videos in her Kissimmee Police Department uniform, selling products. Let's take a look at the video.
Ew. I found something that's actually going to remove odors instead of masking them. So if you guys are interested, I'm going to have a link down below. If you see the orange cart, that means it's still available.
That is Detective Milian Ligara. She's a major crimes detective with the Kissimmee Police Department. After we started asking questions about these TikTok videos, Kissimmee Police told us that they are reviewing them for, quote, potential policy violations. And let's talk a little bit about the police department policy, because I was looking at Kissimmee's social media policy. A lot of law enforcement agencies have had to come up with similar policies. In the case of Kissimmee Police, like many, they say that their employees are free to express themselves on social media as private citizens. You can do it. But there are limitations. In Kissimmee's case, you can't hurt the agency by what you post, or you can't represent the agency's views. Another question we've seen particularly with law enforcement is, can you wear your uniform? Some agencies say absolutely not, no social media in your uniform. Kissimmee Police, like others, will say, yeah, you can, but they caution against it, in particular for safety reasons, because you're identifying yourself as a police officer and potentially putting yourself at risk when you're off the job. But nonetheless, we're not going to judge on this one, but obviously the department is now looking to see whether this fell within or without their policy rules.
Well, wouldn't it be a conflict of interest? You're on the clock, if you're on the clock and you're being paid for that job, and you're selling some product to be paid for that as well. It's like double dipping. I don't know what you would call it.
And I imagine that's a separate conversation, is when were these videos taken? Were they taken at home? Were they taken on company time? And that's certainly something I imagine they are looking at. But I think, take it outside the police department here. I think with social media taking over much of our lives, these are debates we're seeing no matter where you work. And at what point does your personal become your professional, and where is that line? And it's an interesting question.
So all these years later, we're still figuring out where everything, especially like now that she can
Even
make money
more so now,
selling things. It's very interesting, and that stuff getting pulled off very quickly after you made that phone call was interesting.
Those videos on the TikTok page disappeared, but it just reminds me why I'm old and don't get on the TikToks as much.
On the TikToks.
Well, you just called them the TikToks. That's a problem, Mike. All right, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Check out his full report coming up later. It's an interesting one. Well, a man is dead, killed after apparently helping a friend out. Police say he was mowing the grass when he was killed. His pickup, his equipment, all taken.
Yeah, that truck was stolen and pulled over just over 30 hours later and 30 miles away. But as News 6's Tori Campbell explains, investigators still have some unanswered questions.
Kissimmee police say when they showed up to this home along Heather Way on Thursday morning, they found the 71-year-old dead, suffering multiple injuries. But then they say a few hours later, they found the victim's vehicle 30 miles away. Kissimmee police now identifying the victim as 71-year-old Charles Harper, and they're also calling his death a homicide. When News 6 arrived at Heather Way on Thursday afternoon, we spotted patrol vehicles still blocking off the entire area. I've spoken with about a half dozen neighbors along Heather Way. They all tell me that this home is vacant. They say that the victim was here on Thursday morning to mow the lawn. That's when they say he encountered the suspect. Neighbors also say Harper knew the homeowner from the church they attended in Orange County. Kissimmee police say during their investigation, they discovered Harper's pickup had been driven away from the home. Neighbors tell us detectives knocked on their doors, asking if any of their home surveillance systems were able to capture the vehicle driving away. Then, a few hours later, Altamont Springs police say they located the truck being driven by 32-year-old Nicholas Lopez in the area of Montgomery Road and West Central Parkway after making an unsafe lane change. Police say Lopez initially refused to provide his name and gave them a fake birth date. He was booked into the Seminole County Jail on charges of resisting an officer and providing a false ID. And as of now, Lopez is not facing any murder charges. So, in the meantime, Kissimmee police urge anyone with information to contact them or Crime Line, where you can remain anonymous. In Kissimmee, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Well, an aggressive driver is facing charges over a road rage incident yesterday. It's hot out there and people's tempers are short. Dashcam video caught a white car following closely behind an SUV when it speeds into another part of the road and tries to cut it off. It's then seen swerving right in front of it. See that right there? Forcing the driver to stop in the middle of I-4. This is near Plant City. The driver who cut the guy off then gets out of his car and punches the other guy's windshield before driving off. Troopers were able to track him down last night and arrest him. Damage to the victim's car is believed to be around $3,000. That's the first. Do not get out of your car. Just don't.
Especially on a busy highway.
My gosh, and that little area, that
crazy?
stretch is so busy.
But some people are just overcome by rage in these incidents.
I've seen them.
It's wild. And that's not the only story we have that is maybe somebody got just a little too angry here.
A little hot under the collar.
There's a group of teens who thought they were going to have a little prank on somebody. It got pretty dangerous. Take a listen.
They were shooting with BB guns or pellet guns or something. They're leaning out of the back seat of the car, shooting at other vehicles.
Now, Port St. Lucie police say a man and his fiancée called 911 as they followed a car Wednesday night. Police said there were a bunch of teens inside. One shot their car with an Orbeez gun, you know, those little like water pellets, after mistaking it for a friend's car.
Hurt.
They do hurt. A couple followed the teens until they finally pulled over when the man then held those teens at gunpoint.
Okay, why are we pointing guns at kids? Where's the other kid? Well, we got notes that it was a BB gun. Where's your firearm?
On my side.
All right, turn around. Turn around. I'm taking it for now for safety.
Yeah, you can't just do whatever you want. That's a good question. Why are we pointing guns at kids? So the man was arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, false imprisonment of a child. That's a biggie. A 15-year-old was also arrested for shooting at or into an occupied vehicle. So they got their comeuppance as well. Police say this is a reminder not to take matters into your own hands. Instead, call 911 and let the officers handle the situation. Would have been dicey, but they could have followed the kids until the cops got involved. But
I just don't
to
even
then
like
get the
following.
gun into
Yeah,
it, I know that's probably not the best idea
No.
either. But
Just call 911 and let them handle the rest
False
of it.
imprisonment.
But teens, they're out for the summer. They have a lot of time on their hands. They're doing things that
They're
teens
doing dumb
do.
things,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
not known to be smart. Well, a pro football player facing potentially life in prison could be walking out of jail as early as this afternoon. A judge set bond for Detroit Lions cornerback Terrion Arnold at $1 million. The state was asking Arnold be held on no bond, though, but the judge is allowing him the opportunity to post bond. Arnold has to surrender his passport and can only leave his home for work and legal related reasons. The state also asked the judge to require that he wear an ankle monitor, but the judge sided with Arnold's attorneys, who argued it would inhibit his ability to play. Arnold was arrested on Friday in connection to a kidnapping and robbery case in Tampa from back in February. He's facing 8 felonies, 4 counts of armed robbery and kidnapping each, and faces up to life in prison if he is convicted.
he's pretty happy in that video. Gets to get out of jail, at least for now.
All right, with the 4th of July just days away, fireworks will soon light up the sky.
But as News 6's Jarrell Baker explains, crews, specifically in Seminole County, say they're getting ready for a surge in serious injuries and fires.
This is where you don't want to be, loaded in the back of an ambulance, all because you decided to use fireworks and something went wrong. Unfortunately, Seminole County firefighters say that's something that they see every year around the 4th of July. I'm News 6's Jarrell Baker.
I've personally responded to those calls where we've had
explosions in the hands, the fireworks gone off in the hands.
Seminole County firefighters say the days around the 4th of July are some of their busiest, responding to firework accidents that can leave people with severe burns or even loss of fingers and limbs.
We're going to see eye injuries, facial injuries, and hand injuries. Throughout the nation on a whole, there's thousands of injuries, specifically on the 4th of July because of these fireworks that are mishandled. Those sparklers, that's the perfect firework for a kid. Unfortunately, they burn over 2,000 degrees. So you're talking about an instant burn.
Lieutenant Williams says that crews are equipped with pretty much everything they need, like special burn sheets, just to treat people even before they're taken to the hospital.
We're always ready for it. It's something that we train our paramedics, our EMTs for.
And to prevent those fires, firefighters recommend that you use a bucket, fill it with water, and soak those used fireworks for around 24 hours.
Before you light the first firework, please make sure you have a water source. And then when you're done with the fireworks, set them off away from the house. That seems to be a recurring theme every year, is that we will always get 1 or 2 or 3 fires.
He says fireworks also spark a jump in house fires and dumpster fires, sometimes as many as 5 in a single holiday.
I think that the most important thing to remember is that fireworks last for a second, but those injuries can last a lifetime.
Now, if you do plan to light up those fireworks by yourself, they say it's important to wear eye protection, keep those fireworks away from children, but they also say the best thing to do is just to go ahead and go to a fireworks show where professionals can handle the fireworks and you can enjoy the holidays. Here in Seminole County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
All right, so the topic of our poll today happens to be fireworks. You can take out your phone, scan the QR screen you see right there on your code on your screen right there. It'll take you to clickorlando.com/react, and that's where you can weigh in. We want to know, what's your preferred fireworks experience? Mine is not having my hand blown off. I don't know if that's
Yours is nubless experience?
Right now, most people say, I don't do fireworks. That's probably a good choice. Let the professionals handle it, because those things can get out of hand really quickly. And you always, the day after the 4th of July, you see firefighters and you get all these x-rays and you see what emergency rooms have to deal with, like fingers missing.
Yes, it is dangerous,
Yeah.
but a lot of people can do it safely. I think there's a...
Guess who might be doing this? The way you're talking right now is like you have them in your trunk.
Kids still talk about when Uncle Matt is home for July 4th, and we get to blow some stuff up. But you have to be careful. I think people mix the fireworks and the drinking pretty heavily, and that causes some real problems.
Once upon a time here at News 6, we had our own fireworks at the fountain.
This is true, at an actual fountain.
They killed that immediately. All right, still to come, the new facility at one local college to help solve crimes.
Plus, we're going to take a look at the weather. It is a weather-aware day. We'll talk about why with our meteorologist, Julie Broughton, coming up after the break. This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
Welcome back to News 6 at 3 on this Weather Aware Day. And it's not weather aware because it's bad out there right now, because that looks beautiful to me.
Right. And so that is a case of location, location, location. So we do have some strong storms in place, but folks out there at Daytona Beach are enjoying some nice weather. We are all dealing with the heat, so we do have a heat advisory posted until 7 o'clock, and we're also under a level 1 risk of some strong to severe storms. And as we take a look at the radar, where you see that white outline there, that encompasses eastern Orange County, parts of Brevard County, as well as parts of Osceola County. That's where a special weather statement is in place until 4 o'clock. And as we go in a little bit closer, you can see how these storms are moving slowly, kind of meandering, but where those boundaries are interacting and colliding, that's where we're seeing the storms kind of pulse up. And that is certainly the case there in East Orange County, as well as Osceola County and Brevard County. We've got very heavy rain and also winds at times up to around 50 miles per hour in some of those stronger cells. Now, as we go in even a little bit tighter, you can see where you see those areas of dark red. That shows us where we potentially could be seeing 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour. And these storms are moving slow because our upper level winds are very weak. So they're not strong enough to just sweep them across the state. As we take you a little farther north up toward Altamont Springs, you're seeing some of those heavier showers popping up and taking you into Umatilla. You are also seeing some of it. Now, this is what we're dealing with just about everywhere. This is why we have that heat advisory in place. In the Villages right now, it's 98 degrees. It feels like 108 degrees in New Smyrna Beach. It's 91, but it feels like 106. Feels like 108 in Sanford, and 108 for the heat index is kind of that magic number for those heat advisories to be issued. So today, likely the hottest day of our week. As we take you through the rest of the week, showing you the temperature and heat index trend, we're still talking about it feeling like triple digits all the way into our holiday weekend. And we're also going to keep it fairly soggy, so we'll bump up our rain chance to 70% thanks to a front getting a little bit closer to central Florida, and then we'll keep it around 50 to 60% as we head all the way into our weekend.
I mean, it is so hot. You don't even have to take a shower. You don't have to turn on the hot water. The cold water is...
Right, it's refreshing.
It's not. It's still hot. All right, so we can keep up with all these changes by downloading the app.
That's right. Just search WKMG in your app store.
It's the first co-located lab in the entire state of Florida. We're talking with the FDLE and UCF right here in Lake Nona. I'm News 6's Amy Russo. The hope for this lab is that these forensic science students will be better equipped with that hands-on experience when they go out into the workforce. Getting answers and learning new techniques. This new lab, a partnership between FDLE and UCF, will give students a place to intern, train side by side with working forensic scientists, and help research emerging substances, all while building the skills they'll need to step into full-time forensic careers.
And it really lays out a more realistic expectation for them so they can see their future working in a crime lab or somewhere else.
The real-world experience could also help get new hires up to speed faster.
You need that training for sure, but it also takes away from other individuals who have to train those people. So shortening that time down and getting students coming in with a little base knowledge is really helpful for expediting that process.
We toured the lab, including the equipment used to process evidence and extract drugs from specimens.
So urine often has like sediments, so that's going to separate that from the actual liquid that we use to extract the drug within that specific specimen.
And we even got a hands-on look at how impairment can affect someone's balance and coordination. I'm going to try these goggles on. These are the drug impairment goggles, and our goal is to walk this yellow line. So what does this mean for law enforcement? More staff, more space, and more capacity to support investigations.
Because it allows us to expand. We've been quite restricted on space in forensics for quite some time, and this expansion allows us to do more work and add more people into our ranks.
The FDLE Orlando Forensics Lab already processes about 10,000 cases annually, and now this new lab, it creates even more opportunities for students to learn while moving casework forward. I'm your Lake Nona community correspondent, Amy Russo, News 6.
All right. News 6 anchor Lisa Bell is here now.
I have another update for you on one of our favorite stories of the year, that adorable pup down in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You remember this story.
They find him?
How can we forget?
Yes. So you may remember this story, the highly jealous dog that went viral after staring longingly at another pooch who was eating a hot dog during a recent Bark in the Park night. Well, the Miami Marlins saw this video as well and asked for help tracking down that sweet little pooch. Our sister station in South Florida also met him. There he is. So this is
Same look in his eye.
right. This is Jonah, a 6-year-old rescue pup from Aruba, and apparently he gives that longing look all the time. So his owner was pretty surprised to learn how viral Jonah went. His owner says he has since gotten his hot dog, but his real favorite treat is apparently ice cream.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, sweet little thing.
So Jonah suffers from what we call resting canine face.
Apparently, yes.
So
He's got those little puppy eyes.
And Jonah's a boy, right?
He's a boy dog, so the other one wouldn't fit.
No, exactly. Oh my gosh, but I'm happy that they tracked him down, figured out what was wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's just it's just his face.
He might not have even been that upset. He might have just been watching.
That's right.
It's like, good boy.
Wondering if he was going to get any ice cream maybe later on.
Just the media twisting things yet again.
All right, coming up, driverless cars may be the future, but they're not without their problems. After the break, the issues some are seeing on the road here in Central Florida.
I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton. A viewer reached out to our News 6 neighborhood network after he says he saw a Waymo moving back and forth, fearing it actually might be malfunctioning. However, it might not be what you think. And we also know that this topic has brought up this discussion over these self-driving cars and what to do if it does something you don't expect, as drivers are still divided when it comes to self-driving cars. It's a technology expanding on the road.
I think it is cool for long drives.
Not for me. Not for me.
Driverless cars is getting more attention and also raising questions. Video shared this year shows a Waymo car caught in flash flooding in Texas.
Go, come on, go.
And another that appeared to block traffic near an apartment fire.
I don't think the human race is ready for self-driving cars yet. People can barely drive nowadays as is.
But some drivers in the opposite lane believe the technology could make roads safer. Waymo claims its vehicles have fewer serious crashes compared to human drivers.
As long as you're using it smart, not drinking and driving.
For some behind the wheel, a Metroplan Orlando report shows more starting to feel comfortable sharing the road with driverless cars compared to years past. But when it comes to being a passenger in the back seat, a majority still chose a human driver.
Treat it just like every other car.
Your News 6 traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, just spotted a Waymo driving on Thursday while he was on patrol on John Young Parkway. He says it's best not to make an assumption if you see one.
Malfunction could be up for definition, so give it some time.
Trooper Steve says the biggest gear shift for drivers is learning to trust the tech while understanding its limits.
So if something does go wrong with Waymo, Waymo already knows. It's going to autonomously attempt to fix whatever's happening.
If you do see or have an issue with one, he suggests doing what you normally would and call 911. For some, driverless cars represent the future of transportation.
I think it's a good idea, but at the same time, I don't think it's as updated and as safe right now.
For others, giving up control to a computer is still a big leap. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Well, at least they're easy to spot. Right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. All right, we have a lot in store for you. Coming up, News 6 at 4 is just minutes away.
3 alligator attacks in 1 week in Central Florida, and officials say the one here in Seminole County was deadly. We're getting an update straight from state wildlife officers.
A teen is being charged as an adult with attempted murder. The confrontation with a girl that investigators say drove him to shoot at her house.
Rethinking the location of smoke shops. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, and coming up, Orange County commissioners are slated to discuss how close one of these smoke shops should be to a school.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
We begin at 4 with that deadly alligator attack in Seminole County. We learned today a 31-year-old woman was bitten on the arm by the gator and died on the way to the hospital.
Wildlife officials say the young woman's boyfriend and one of her best friends saw the attack happen and tried to help her. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is at the Barr Street Trailhead. That's near where that group was.
Yeah, and Catherine, Florida Fish and Wildlife just gave an update on this afternoon.
That's right, and state wildlife officers say they still do not know if they have caught the alligator that was involved, but they have harvested 2 from this area. The largest is 13 feet. They say the gator grabbed that 31-year-old woman while she was swimming here with her best friend and her boyfriend. We are learning more about how this tragedy unfolded from their call to 911.
Somebody got bit by a gator.
Bad, real bad, please, hurry. The call came from a best friend and boyfriend whose 31-year-old loved one needed help now.
Please, we're right off the water.
That call directed first responders here to the Barr Street Trailhead, about half a mile from the Econ River, where wildlife officials say the group went swimming Sunday afternoon.
They were hiking and they just stopped to swim. Right now, in this part of our investigation, it doesn't seem like they were doing anything that was malicious to an alligator.
FWC says they are still trying to understand why the alligator attacked. What they know so far is the woman was bitten on both of her arms. Her boyfriend tried to get her out of the animal's mouth.
The boyfriend was able to, while maintaining a hold of the victim, the gator did release.
They were only in about 3 feet of water.
It could be any number of things. You know, with low water levels that we have, we are coming into the end of mating season. Alligators become very territorial.
After searching the area, trappers found and harvested 2 large gators.
It's this time of year.
Brandon Fisher, an alligator expert at Gatorland, says summer is breeding and nesting season.
It could have very well been a mom protected her nest. It could have been one just hanging out swimming. A 12-foot alligator, which is a big male alligator, could fully submerge in 1.5 feet of water and you not be able to see it, especially if it's really dark water.
An estimated 1.3 million alligators call Florida home. Fatal attacks are rare. This is the 7th since 2020.
They're built to be here in Florida and built to camouflage and hide really well. But if they get scared, they get spooked, they're going to protect themselves.
Right now, the trailhead is closed. You can see the sign here. There are existing signs warning visitors that there are alligators in this area. FWC says they are waiting on lab results to confirm without a doubt that that 13-foot alligator is the one that was involved in this incident. They say it was found in the exact spot where this happened. As for the woman, FWC is waiting to notify the rest of her family before they release her name publicly. They tell us she is 31 years old and she is from Orlando. For now, I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
All right, Catherine, thank you. Now, this is actually the second gator attack in Central Florida from this weekend. The FWC says a child was bitten on the hand by an 8-foot, 7-inch alligator at Nelson's Fish Camp in Umatilla on Saturday. An FWC trapper later removed and killed the animal. All of this coming 1 week after a snorkeler was bitten while swimming at Rainbow Springs State Park in Marion County by another 8-foot alligator. The FWC says serious injuries caused by alligators are rare, but if you encounter a nuisance gator or have concerns about one, you are urged to contact the agency.
All right, let's take you outside right now. Live look at Daytona Beach. It is a weather-aware day, heat and storms throughout the afternoon. You saw some rain arriving where Catherine Silver was just reporting.
Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with what we can expect. Julie?
By looking at that shot, Daytona Beach, it's hard to see why it's a weather-aware day, but we're talking about heat and storms. So here's a look at the radar for you. We're continuing to see some pockets of heavy rain as we go in a little bit closer for you down into Brevard County especially. That's where we did have a special weather statement that expired at 4 o'clock, but you can still see from East Orange County down through Brevard County into Osceola County as well. We are talking about some very heavy rain. A lot of lightning clustered right there just near the Deer Park area. This is all moving very slowly. I want to loop the radar for you over the last hour. These showers are moving slowly. They're moving erratically. That means you could get a lot of rain in a short amount of time. We'll track some more of these storms and talk about the heat for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Julie, thank you. Smoke shops and schools. Orange County is looking at how far smoke shops must be from schools.
News 6's Mike Valenti joins us now live in Windermere outside Olympia High School. And Mike, how does the school here fit into this discussion that's taking place?
Lisa, good evening. The commissioner who's bringing forward this proposal said she was motivated to do so because she heard a lot of concerns from families about a smoke shop being just a short walk away from Olympia High School behind me and Chain of Lakes Middle School across the street.
What we're doing is we're trying to protect young people.
Commissioner Nicole Wilson discussing her proposal of a zoning change. No new smoke shops within 1,000 feet of a public or private school in Orange County.
But if we can prevent that day-to-day exposure and the familiarity and the desensitization, why wouldn't we?
Earlier this year, Commissioner Wilson wrote a memo to her fellow commissioners broaching these concerns. And she pointed to an example in her own district, Olympia High School, pretty close to a smoke shop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we were working on deadline, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, we decided to do a quick measurement ourselves. Just how close is that smoke shop to Olympia High School? 98, 99, 100. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to the school property line now. Maybe don't have a perfect count, but you definitely get the point. This school is within less than 500 feet of the smoke shop.
Almost immediately, when that first opened up, I got calls from a friend of mine in the area who's a nurse who said, oh my gosh, how can we do this? We're seeing kids, younger and younger getting addicted. And that started the conversation. And then I had a municipal partner reach out from the city of Windermere.
We reached out to the owner of this store to get their perspective, but we have yet to hear back. And Wilson says her proposal would actually not affect this shop at all. It would be a zoning change for any future stores that may pop up.
Being able to protect our young people is really the goal here. It's not to put anybody out of business.
So this is just the beginning of this story. Tomorrow's just going to be pretty much a discussion late in the afternoon at the regularly scheduled Orange County Commission meeting. And then going from there, they're going to try to hammer out the language to craft a potential ordinance. And then there'll be a first and second reading later this year. Of course, we'll keep you updated on any developments on this story on air and online on clickorlando.com. For now, we're live outside Olympia High School. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you. Now to a wild story out of Seminole County. A 17-year-old is being charged as an adult in an attempted murder case that could have ended much worse.
Investigators say it all involves a girl, a stolen gun, and a claim that he says was a lie. News 6 anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom to walk us through this case. Matt.
So according to an arrest affidavit, Zebron Biggs admitted to detectives that he shot up a girl's house because he didn't want her to have his baby. He also claims she lied to him about her age. Keep in mind this girl is 14, but he says she told him she was 16. Investigators say neighbors heard at least 7 gunshots on Columbia Avenue back on May 24th. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Detectives say Biggs initially tried to find the girl at the mall, but when she wasn't there, he drove to her home and opened fire. At least 2 bullets hit the house. Biggs was eventually arrested a few days later. He's being held on no bond at the Seminole County Jail. As for where he got the gun, investigators say he told them he stole it from an unlocked vehicle in Mount Dora a week before. According to the arrest report, he told detectives he threw it out the window after the shooting. Ginger.
Matt, thank you. This week marks the 3-year anniversary of an unsolved homicide in Lady Lake. The police department is taking this time to ask for the public's help for any information. In 2023, 20-year-old Bryson Swift Leverett was killed and another person was hurt in a shooting outside a home at 104 Caroline Avenue. Investigators say the victims were leaving the home around 12:45 in the morning when they were ambushed by multiple suspects armed with several firearms. The investigation remains active and detectives are continuing to follow any leads. They are asking anyone with information to reach out to Lady Lake Police. There is a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to an arrest.
2 people are facing charges accused of running an illegal tool shop out of a neighborhood. Back in March, Volusia Sheriff's Office detectives went into a home on South San Souci Avenue in DeLand. That's where they found thousands of dollars in stolen tools and other merchandise. The Sheriff's Office says they have now arrested Tyler Cherry and Jared Bennett for fraud, grand theft, and other charges. Investigators say Cherry illegally obtained Lowe's credit cards, which he and Bennett used to steal $50,000 worth of stuff and then sold on Facebook Marketplace. Cherry is being held on no bond. Bennett's was set at $115,000.
Turning back the clock in honor of America's 250th.
The city of Orlando taking a look back. Up next, a 50-year-old time capsule finally opened and a look at the contents that were discovered by accident.
This portion of the news is sponsored by True Deals Realty.
As America gets ready to celebrate its 250th birthday, the city of Orlando is taking a trip back to our bicentennial.
To mark the country turning 200, the community buried a time capsule 50 years ago. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez was there as its contents were revealed.
After 50 years, the contents of a time capsule that were buried right here in the City Beautiful were unveiled, taking the city back to 1976. Buried at Lake Eola by the Kiwanis Club of Orlando, this time capsule was long forgotten, with no official record marking its existence. It was recently discovered during construction, and after some research, it was found to have been placed in the ground in 1976, when Orlando only had a population of 116,000. Meant for us to open 50 years later. With cassette tapes, a phone book, newspapers, and so much more from that era of American history, it gave a peek into life back then.
A lot of the items are just very reminiscent of the bicentennial, but also there's a lot of information in there. There are a lot of keepsakes from the various Kiwanis clubs around Central Florida. So it kind of makes it really special for Kiwanis, actually.
It's still unclear how the items will be preserved. And in 50 years from now, another time capsule could be opened right here in Orlando. The Kiwanis Club is working to put one together to give the future City Beautiful a peek into the past. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to put in from today to be opened 50 years from now.
The options are endless.
Right? Yeah. All right, we do want to check in now with meteorologist Julie Broughton. It is hot outside. Some people are getting some relief, though.
Right, we are seeing some storms, and some of those have been strong. So because of the heat and because of the storms, we have designated today a weather aware day. I do think the storms will wind down likely between 8 and 9 o'clock. But as we head through the week, our rain chance does remain elevated, and that includes into our holiday weekend. And in the tropics, we are watching one area of interest with a very low chance of development. I'll show you that in just a moment. But again, we are under a level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather today from the Storm Prediction Center. That is part of why we have it as a weather aware day. Now here's a look at the radar. I have it looping right now over the last hour, and you can see these storms are moving slowly. They're moving erratically. That's because our winds in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere are very light. So there's just not much to push those storms along. So as those boundaries are interacting, that is where we're seeing the storms have been strengthening. Now, this cluster of storms just a little while ago had a special weather statement, and still from Titusville down through Port St. John, Rockledge, you're seeing some of that heavy rain. This will track off toward areas like Palm Bay, Melbourne, Grant, Mico. Much of Osceola County dealing with some heavy rain, including Hullapaw as well as Deer Park. And again, going up toward Altamont Springs, Sanford, Deltona, seeing some of this in a really heavy little storm right now. For those of you in the DeLand area near Orange City, this is approaching I-4. But again, these storms are moving pretty slowly. Let's go out a little bit wider for you once again and show you what's happening across our western counties. Starting to see some of the activity we saw over the Ocala National Forest beginning to wind down. And in southern Lake County as well as southern Sumter County, you're beginning to see some of those storms pulsing up. Here's how it looks as we take you through your futurecast, your clouds and rain forecast. We stop the clock at 6 o'clock. And again, we could start to see some of it dying down as we move through the early evening hours. I think by midnight, we're mostly clear and dry. But tomorrow, we're tracking a front. And as that front drops in from our north, we could even see some isolated showers in the morning hours. I think this modeling's a little overdone on the intensity, but we are bumping our rain chance up tomorrow to 70%. And the showers will start, I think, much earlier than normal because of that front. Now moving on to the heat for you, we have heat advisories up for most of us until 7 o'clock. Launch Credit Union camera at Port Canaveral showing we are officially reporting some storms out there. 91 degrees. In Orlando, it's 90, but it feels like 97. And in the Villages, it is still feeling like 108. Your hour-by-hour forecast featuring mojito and what appears to be a frog hoodie. We're keeping our temperatures generally in the 90s as we head through the next couple of hours, and we are keeping rain chances around until about 8 or 9 o'clock. Quick check of the tropics. National Hurricane Center giving this area along that front we talked about a 10% chance of further development. Again, there is that front. So this may meander back toward the west as well and could bump up our rain chances. So we'll keep an eye on that. 7-day forecast keeps highs highs in the 90s and rain chances anywhere from 40 to 70% over the next 7 days.
All right, Julie, thank you. Between fluctuating gas prices and inflation, there is a lot to be upset about.
Yeah, but a new study says Americans are actually feeling better about the economy coming up, what that study shows, plus Hollywood on track for its best year since the pandemic. We're bringing it all down in Money Matters.
As we take a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope cam, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back. I'm News 6 anchor Lauren Melendez. Some good news for movie makers in Hollywood, and Americans are feeling a little bit better about the economy. So let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. So this has to do with prices at the pump. I don't get too excited too long, but let's talk about it.
Okay, Lauren, falling gas prices are helping Americans feel better about the economy. The University of Michigan finds consumer sentiment ticked up this month. It rose from 48.9 to a new reading of 49.5. It's small, okay, but it marks the first increase since the conflict with Iran pushed global energy prices higher. Those higher gas prices had dragged consumer sentiment to near record lows. Lauren.
Maybe a little extra money for the July 4th holiday festivities. We'll see. Hollywood, Maribel, could be on track to have its best year since the pandemic. And this is big because we know they've had some trouble, with contracts and strikes over the last few years.
And some movies, Lauren. He-Man and Supergirl have disappointed Hollywood this summer, but overall box office is back on track to approach that pre-pandemic level of $10 billion. Now, a lot of that isn't due to massive blockbusters, but the staying power of movies like Obsession, Backrooms, and Michael. Of course, big names like Toy Story 5 have also helped. So far, summer ticket sales have reached $1.8 billion. That's just 2% below where they were at this point in 2019. Now, Lauren, this is how families beat that summer heat at the movies.
You sometimes sneak into another one. I don't know if I can say that. Maybe they'll have to take this out. But, you know, look, air conditioning is air conditioning, and it's better than being in 108-degree temperatures or feels like. So thank you, Maribel, as always, for the latest money and consumer news. Head to our website, clickorlando.com.
As the World Cup heats up, a former World Cup champion is now in Orlando.
Yeah, we're talking about French superstar Antoine Griezmann. Up next, News 6's Ryan Welch got a chance to get a first look at the midfielder before his debut. Plus,
Ew. I found something that's actually going to remove odors instead of masking them.
This TikTok video shows a Kissimmee police officer in uniform selling a product online. Coming up, I'll show you what the police department's rules say about such social media posts.
A live look now over Port Canaveral. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now.
Starting with new details into an alligator attack that killed a woman in Seminole County over the weekend. We are waiting for FWC to release her name, but we know she is 31 years old and from Orlando. Florida Fish and Wildlife say the gator grabbed the woman while she was swimming with her boyfriend and best friend at the Barr Street Trailhead. Near the Barr Street Trailhead, officials say the woman was bitten on both of her arms as her boyfriend tried to get her out of the animal's mouth. FWC says the 13-foot gator that was harvested was found in the exact area where the attack happened, but they need lab results to confirm if it was the gator involved.
Orange County is looking at how far away smoke shops must be from schools. Commissioner Nicole Wilson is proposing a zoning change where no new smoke shops are within 1,000 feet of a public or private school. She says her proposal would actually not affect this shop at all. It would be a zoning change for any future ones that may pop up, though. There will be no vote tomorrow, just a discussion to hammer out the exact language of the ordinance. In Seminole County, a 17-year-old is being charged as an adult with attempted murder. According to officials, Zabron Biggs says that he did not want to have a baby with another teen girl because he says she lied about her age. He then made threats toward her and tried to find her at a mall. When she wasn't there, he went to her house and fired 7 shots. He now faces attempted murder charges and is being held with no bond.
So if you guys are interested, I'm going to have a link down below. If you see the orange card, that means it's still available.
So this video shows a detective with the Kissimmee Police Department in uniform advertising a product for sale on her personal TikTok page. Shortly after News 6 began asking questions, the agency announced it was reviewing the TikTok videos. Florida law enforcement officers are generally allowed to post videos and photos on social media. But as News 6 investigator Mike DeForest shows us, many agencies have rules limiting what officers can share online.
If you guys are new here, my name is Millian, and I've been in law enforcement for going on 4 years now in July.
This is Millian Lagares, a detective with the Kissimmee Police Department's Major Crimes Unit.
What is a TikTok?
Like some law enforcement officers, Lagares has a TikTok page featuring both personal and professional content, including these clips that appear to show the detective posing at her desk.
If you want to smell like a vanilla cake with heavy caramel drizzle and whipped cream on top, Cream Velvet by Cod Lodge.
Many of her videos advertise products for sale.
And I'm gonna have it linked down below for you guys on my TikTok shop. It's gonna be my TikTok shop. Now this is 30% off on the TikTok shop.
In most of the ads, the detective is dressed in her civilian clothing.
Ew. I found something that's actually going to remove odors instead of masking them.
But recently, Lagares posted this video while wearing her Kissimmee Police Department uniform.
I use it on shoes, tactical items, pet gear.
The video, which included this image, advertised the sale of a deodorant spray.
I just take off my vest, I spray it directly with the Arrest My Vest spray. And it honestly just leaves it smelling so fresh.
In another video selling eyeglasses, Lagares was also featured in her uniform. The Kissimmee Police Department, like many law enforcement agencies, has a policy addressing social media use. According to that policy, agency members are free to express themselves as private citizens on social media sites, but they're warned that speech on or off duty may form the basis for discipline if deemed detrimental to the agency. For safety and security reasons, agency members are cautioned to avoid displaying agency logos, uniforms, or similar identifying information. Also, agency members may not make any statements, speeches, appearances, endorsements, or publish materials that could reasonably be considered to represent the views or positions of the agency without written permission from the chief.
So if you guys are interested, I'm going to have a link down below.
After I began asking questions about the videos of Lagares selling products while in uniform, they disappeared from her TikTok page and are now unavailable. Detective Lagares did not respond to my questions about her TikTok videos. A spokesperson for the Kissimmee Police Department tells me the agency is reviewing those videos for potential policy violations. Mike DeForest, News 6.
As Venezuela picks up the pieces after devastating earthquakes, volunteers in Florida are doing all they can to help. This was the Global Empowerment Mission warehouse in Doral this weekend. Donors waited as long as 2.5 hours to drop off supplies, creating what appeared to be an organized human assembly line. And for some of the volunteers, the situation hits pretty close to home.
And it makes me super proud as Venezuelan and emotional because, you know, tough times and we're in here together.
U.S. Senator Ashley Moody also joined the volunteers this weekend. Organizers say the response was so overwhelming, it forced them to turn away additional help at the end of the day. And here's some drone footage from Sunday showing the scale of destruction. The death toll from last Wednesday's twin earthquakes neared 1,500. Foreign rescue teams are now pouring the country in a desperate search for survivors. The U.S. Geological Survey estimated more than 10,000 deaths were possible from the magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 quakes. That would place them among Latin America's deadliest of the last century.
The Trump administration says President Trump's patience with Iran could wear out. But for now, he says peace talks with the regime will move forward. CBS correspondent Jacinto Bonsu has more details from the White House.
Traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has slowed dramatically following a weekend of back-and-forth attacks between the U.S. and Iran. Iran launched missile and drone strikes at American bases in the region, which were shot down. The U.S. targeted Iranian military sites near the Strait of Hormuz, which the Pentagon says were a response to attacks on tankers in the strait.
There were attacks on commercial vessels that the United States of America, directed by the president, responded to, and that will continue to happen, but we hope we don't see that. The president obviously wants to see the peace process play out.
President Trump announced on social media that the Iranians have asked for a meeting in Doha, which will take place on Tuesday, while Al Jazeera reports the Iranian Foreign Ministry is saying it won't hold any negotiations with the American side in the coming days.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the president's special envoy Steve Witkoff are briefing lawmakers today on the talks.
Some in Congress don't see the Iranian regime ever agreeing to a final deal.
I just simply don't trust the Iranian leadership, the mullahs, to live up to their commitments.
Since the signed memorandum of understanding, the U.S. and Iran have met only once for the talks earlier this month in Switzerland. Jacinto Bonsu, CBS News, the White House.
Meantime, shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has ticked up over the past 36 hours. According to ship tracking data, larger tankers are using a more southern route close to the Omani coast. The interim agreement signed by the countries gives Tehran, with Oman, an unspecified role in managing the traffic. But Iran insists it alone should determine which routes vessels can use.
Well, did you know a majority of child safety features on many major social media sites are not working as advertised? That's according to a new study by the Cybersecurity Research Center. It looked at dozens of safety features on TikTok, Instagram, Snap, and YouTube. It found almost 60% of the time those child safety features either didn't work or kids would not realistically find and use them. Snap, YouTube, and Instagram dispute the study's findings, though. They say the study did not correspond to how kids or teens typically use those platforms. It's important to note that the research did not look into parental control features here. The study comes as YouTube and Meta, Instagram's parent company, were found liable in court this year of intentionally addicting and harming young people. All right, the 2026 FIFA World Cup is entering the elimination rounds, and one player who has successfully won the title is now right here in Orlando.
Yeah, after years of playing in Spain, French midfielder Antoine Griezmann was practicing for the Lions today ahead of his debut. News 6's Ryan Welch was there. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, ladies. At a time when sports fans across the globe are talking soccer, Orlando City unveiled its new star this morning at a training session at Osceola Heritage Park. And there he is, Antoine Griezmann, the French superstar, looking like he's already fitting right in with his new squad. The 35-year-old, who has logged nearly 800 professional appearances throughout his distinguished career, was up to speed on all the team's drills this morning. He was laughing with his new teammates, showing a sliver of the skill set that led to nearly 300 professional goals and more than 130 assists. Now, we will hear from Griezmann a week from tomorrow, but interim head coach Martin Perelman and forward Justin Ellis shared their thoughts following today's session.
He's like top world-class player. He's played at the highest level. And, you know, I mean, just having him around will just take us to another level. I mean, even on the field, you know, like everybody's going to have an eye on him on the other team, so that create more space, you know, for other people. And, I mean, yeah, it's just a blessing to have him here.
It's amazing the way he merged with our guys, with the players. He's so humble. That makes him even bigger. So we are so happy and so proud to have him within our group.
Absolutely. The first chance to see Griezmann take the pitch at Inter & Co Stadium Saturday, July 25th at 7:30 against Nashville. Now, he could make his Orlando City debut 3 nights before on the 22nd in California. One thing I asked Justin Ellis today was what this means for MLS. Yet another international star joining the league like Leo Messi with Inter Miami, among others. Ellis, who's just 19, said it's amazing and it's only going to make young guys like him better. Lisa and Ginger?
All right, Ryan, thank you. Staying on the pitch now, the elimination round of 32 has begun. Earlier today, Canada became the first team to advance to the round of 16, and Orlando City in the middle of all that action. Maxime Crépeau, who plays for the Lions, wasn't really challenged today versus South Africa. Only made 2 saves the entire game and picked up a clean sheet. 1-0 is the final. They will play the winner of tonight's matchup between the Netherlands and Morocco. Meanwhile, Team USA takes the pitch for knockout round play Wednesday night in Northern California. The U.S. will face Bosnia and Herzegovina at 8 o'clock. The winner of that match will face the winner of the Belgium-Senegal showdown earlier in the day on Wednesday. And of course, we're keeping up with the other Orlando City players. Brian Ojeda and Paraguay just kicked off against powerhouse Germany. That game is tied in the first half. And Marco what is
Pasalic?
that? Pasalic. Thank you. We're giving them ranch. We can't say their names.
Yeah.
And Croatia kicked off tomorrow versus Portugal. And superstar, I know this one, Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, America's 250th birthday is less than a week away.
And as fireworks shows take center stage, officials are stressing safety.
I think that the most important thing to remember is that fireworks last for a second, but those injuries can last a lifetime.
Up next, the preparations first responders are making and the critical advice they have for everyone looking to keep their limbs this year. Julie?
That's always a good idea. Now, most of us remain under heat advisories until 7 o'clock tonight. Coming up, we'll talk about how long the heat sticks around and who's seeing some strong storms right now.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Original Mattress Factory.
We are now less than a week away from celebrating America's 250th birthday, and with that comes some danger that we see every year with fireworks.
Yeah, the danger extends from accidentally lighting small brush fires to injuries to your own body. News 6's Jarrell Baker shares what you need to know before lighting up the night.
This is where you don't want to be, loaded in the back of an ambulance, all because you decided to use fireworks and something went wrong. Unfortunately, Seminole County firefighters say that's something that they see every year around the 4th of July.
I've personally responded to those calls where we've had explosions in the hands, the fireworks gone off in the hands.
Seminole County firefighters say the days around the 4th of July are some of their busiest, responding to firework accidents that can leave people with severe burns or even loss of fingers and limbs.
We're going to see eye injuries, facial injuries, and hand injuries. Throughout the nation on a whole, there's thousands of injuries, specifically on the 4th of July because of these fireworks that are mishandled. Those sparklers, that's the perfect firework for a kid. Unfortunately, they burn over 2,000 degrees. So you're talking about an instant burn.
Lieutenant Williams says that crews are equipped with pretty much everything they need, like special burn sheets, just to treat people even before they're taken to the hospital.
We're always ready for it. It's something that we train our paramedics, our EMTs for.
And to prevent those fires, firefighters recommend that you use a bucket, fill it with water, and soak those used fireworks for around 24 hours.
Before you light the first firework, please make sure you have a water source. And then when you're done with the fireworks, set them off away from the house. That seems to be a recurring theme every year, is that we will always get 1 or 2 or 3 fires.
He says fireworks also spark a jump in house fires and dumpster fires, sometimes as many as 5 in a single holiday.
I think that the most important thing to remember is that fireworks last for a second, but those injuries can last a lifetime.
Now, if you do plan to light up those fireworks by yourself, they say it's important to wear eye protection, keep those fireworks away from children, but they also say the best thing to do is just to go ahead and go to a fireworks show where professionals can handle the fireworks and you can enjoy the holidays. Here in Seminole County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
Now, the state says they will not impose a fireworks ban for Independence Day. However, if your county has a burn ban, you are prohibited from using fireworks. Under Florida law, people 18 and older can buy fireworks, and they are usually prohibited except for 3 days of the year: New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and, of course, the 4th of July.
All right, let's check in with meteorologist Julie Broughton on this Weather Aware Day, and it really is something out there.
Right, we are tracking heat and we are tracking some strong storms. And of course, since we were just talking about the 4th of July, looks like we are going to keep our rain chances elevated into our holiday weekend with afternoon highs climbing to the low 90s and rain chances both of those days around 60%. Now, our rain chances could be elevated because of an area of low pressure that is likely developing out over the Atlantic, and it will kind of ride around this area of high pressure. So that means it could push to the west and send some moisture our way as we head into the weekend. And it is this area that the National Hurricane Center has highlighted, giving it a 10% chance of formation over the next 7 days. So a very low chance of becoming an organized tropical system. We will, of course, be watching it for you. Here's what our radar looks like right now. Now, again, we've been seeing some strong storms, and now we have a special weather statement in place for this particular cell that is now moving into Marion County. So we'll go in a little bit closer and give you a look at that. This is impacting areas like Rainbow Lakes Estates, Dunellen, Romeo, and you can see there right on top of Rainbow Falls. This is all continuing to track off to the south and east, and it is producing winds around 40 miles per hour at times. Now, I want to turn off the lightning data for you for a moment so that we can actually see some of these heavier showers. Blyton, you were seeing some of that as well. And notice down the I-4 corridor, really dealing with a lot of heavy rain. Now, when we talk about the colors on the radar, that indicates how much rain is falling. And these storms have picked up a little bit of speed, but they're all kind of moving in different directions. There's no dominant, strong steering flow in place. But from Satellite Beach down toward Deer Park, back down into into parts of southern Osceola County. That is where we are seeing some heavy rain, some lightning as well. This cluster of storms did have a special weather statement earlier, and you can see those are drifting off to the south, taking you over to southern Lake County. These storms are drifting to the south and west, and then taking you up toward Sanford, Deltona, Lake Mary, Altamont Springs. These are kind of drifting a little bit as well. DeLand still seeing some heavy rain, and then up into Flagler County, you're mostly dry, but seeing a few of those isolated showers. Now, I think that these will wrap up likely between 8 and 9 o'clock. The modeling still showing some light activity around 6 or so. I think we'll still see some pretty decent activity between 6 and 7. Through the overnight hours, no major issues, but we mentioned an area of low pressure forming along a front. That is what the National Weather Service is watching. So here is that front, and as it moves into our area tomorrow, it could start our showers up a little bit earlier than we typically see, even during the morning hours. Right now, from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera, we're sitting at 90, feels like 97, currently feeling like 108 in Palm Coast. Hour by hour, featuring Bogey, who has a new home, sitting at 91 degrees for most of us at 8 o'clock, still tracking showers through the evening. 7-day forecast keeping highs in the low 90s, and rain chances stay around 40 to 70% for the next 7 days.
All right, Julie, thank you. Property taxes could soon be getting smaller in Florida.
And some cities are planning their budgets around that. Still to come, we head to Kissimmee, where leaders are looking ahead despite the uncertainty in November. What residents say would be the biggest relief.
As we take a live look at Mount Dora, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Bracing for cuts, cities and counties across Central Florida are starting to look at next year's budget. And in the background, a possible deep cut to property taxes.
Your Osceola County community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez is in Kissimmee, where the city is holding a budget workshop today.
The city of Kissimmee is set to talk about its budget, and this discussion comes at a time when other cities and counties, including Osceola County and the city of St. Cloud, are talking about their budgets in anticipation of deep property tax cuts. As voters get ready to decide if property taxes will be drastically cut, cities are having budget discussions, many trying to map out what happens if it passes. Here's what would change. The first $150,000 of a homestead property's value would be exempt from taxation, a number that would go up to $250,000 in 2028.
It's like a bittersweet kind of,
Julio Pina likes the idea of paying less, but worries it could lead to problems long term.
I mean, I love a break in anything that we can find, but it's a little concerning when you take into consideration that like our police department gets paid off of it, our fire department, like everybody gets paid off of it, the schooling and stuff.
Several Central Florida cities have made it clear this would cost a lot. The mayor of Sanford said the city would lose $15 million, while Ocoee projects losing up to $8 million by 2028. In Kissimmee, it could leave a big dent. Homestead properties make up more than half of the homes here in Kissimmee. Almost 63% have the homestead exemption. We've seen cities discuss offsetting the loss by raising other fees. Travis Bergner is fine with that for essential services, as long as he's saving on property taxes.
That's thousands of dollars in my pocket, going toward my family, going toward my kids, toward our future. And again, the things that, if there are extra costs, fire fees, things like that, then that's something I'd be willing to allocate some of that money toward.
Now, the amendment will go before voters in November. It does need 60% approval to pass. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, a first-of-its-kind forensic lab in Lake Nona is pairing FDLE with UCF all under one roof. Coming up, how students training next to working crime lab scientists could help solve cases faster. Plus,
3 alligator attacks in 1 week in Central Florida, and officials say the one here in Seminole County was deadly. We're getting an update straight from state wildlife officers.
Fast is only minutes away. You can see it is as hot as it looks out there on the beach. And don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6. Plus, our meteorologist will give you the lay of the land of when the rain may return.
Now at 5, we're hearing the 911 calls from a deadly alligator attack in Seminole County.
Somebody got bit by a gator.
Bad, real bad, please, hurry.
The warning from FWC when it comes to getting in the water. Plus,
rethinking the location of smoke shops. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, and coming up, Orange County commissioners are slated to discuss how close one of these smoke shops should be to a school.
And a new forensics lab promising more space, more staff, and more cases cleared. What this new facility could mean for thousands of investigations across Central Florida. You're watching News 6 at 5.
We are now hearing the 911 calls in an awful, deadly gator attack in Seminole County.
Investigators say a 31-year-old woman was swimming with her boyfriend and best friend in the Econ River when she was bitten on both arms. Here's Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is at the Barr Street trailhead at the Little Big Econ State Forest near where that happened. And Catherine, Florida Fish and Wildlife gave an update on this afternoon.
And state wildlife officials say they still don't know whether they have caught the alligator that was involved in this encounter, but 2 have been harvested from this area. The largest was 13 feet. They say the gator grabbed the woman while she was swimming nearby here with her boyfriend and her best friend. We are learning more about how this tragedy unfolded from their call to 911.
Somebody got bit by a gator.
Bad, real bad, please, hurry.
The call came from a best friend and boyfriend whose 31-year-old loved one needed help now.
Please, we're right off the water.
That call directed first responders here to the Barr Street trailhead, about half a mile from the Econ River, where wildlife officials say the group went swimming Sunday afternoon.
They were hiking and they just stopped to swim. Right now, in this part of our investigation, it doesn't seem like they were doing anything that was malicious to an alligator.
FWC says they are still trying to understand why the alligator attacked. What they know so far is the woman was bitten on both of her arms. Her boyfriend tried to get her out of the animal's mouth.
The boyfriend was able to, while maintaining a hold of the victim, the gator did release.
They were only in about 3 feet of water.
It could be any number of things. You know, with low water levels that we have, we are coming into the end of mating season. Alligators become very territorial.
After searching the area, trappers found and harvested 2 large gators.
It's this time of year.
Brandon Fisher, an alligator expert at Gatorland, says summer is breeding and nesting season.
It could have very well been a mom protecting her nest. It could have been one just hanging out swimming. A 12-foot alligator, which is a big male alligator, could fully submerge in 1.5 feet of water and you not be able to see it, especially if it's really dark water.
An estimated 1.3 million alligators call Florida home. Fatal attacks are rare. This is the 7th since 2020.
They're built to be here in Florida and built to camouflage and hide really well. But if they get scared, they get spooked, they're going to protect themselves.
And back here live, you can see the sign. The trailhead here is closed tonight. There are existing signs in this area warning people that alligators are here. FWC says that 13-foot gator that was harvested was found in the exact area where this encounter was, but they are waiting on lab results to confirm whether or not it was the gator that was involved. As for the woman in this attack, FWC says they are waiting to release her name publicly. They tell us she is 31 years old and she is from Orlando. I'm live in some.
All right, Catherine Silver there reporting for us. Let's turn now to your weather. We're calling today a weather-aware day. That's mostly because of the heat.
Right.
So if you're planning to head to the beach this holiday weekend, remember, you got to be safe out there.
Absolutely. As we take a live look right now over Daytona Beach, looking clear there, but we saw with Catherine's live shot, there are storms out there right now. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is joining us, tracking those storms for us.
Yeah, this is the start of our big weather pattern change, guys. We talked about the storm chances. We're going to focus further inland now, I-95 and west. So everything you see out here are going to continue to move away from the beaches. It was last week at this time we were tracking those stronger thunderstorms right up and down the I-95 corridor. Still a few hanging around Satellite Beach and Palm Bay, but they are moving away from us tonight. The bigger stuff here hanging closer to Deltona, Sanford, Altamont Springs. A lot of thunder and lightning. Nothing severe out there, but a lot of heavy rain moving forward. We have more thunderstorms building around Leesburg, back toward Asatula as well. Umatilla, Eustis, we are dry right now. I would not be surprised if over the next 45 45 minutes to an hour, we start to see things fill in between Ocoee, Claremont, back toward the Popgood and Winter Garden a little bit further. That's the west coast sea breeze pushing inland there, and that's what's left from the east coast sea breeze. Two of those are going to collide, and that's going to allow for those higher storm chances as well. There's the heat again where it's not raining. It is toasty. Mount Dora, it is 96, 97 in Ocala, 98 degrees in Denellen. We're back to 94. Compare that to 82 where the rain has come down in Orlando. We have higher storm chances for tomorrow, and it's at a different start time than our typical afternoon thunderstorms. We're going to obviously talk about that and, of course, the holiday weekend, guys, coming up at about 5:17.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. New at 5, a judge made two very different bond decisions today for the Deltona couple accused of threatening a 16-year-old boy with a knife and a handgun after he dropped their daughter off at home. The judge granted Rosa Lambert-Tiru a $35,000 bond, ordering her to wear a GPS monitor and have no contact with her daughter. Her husband, Lance Malonis, was ordered to remain in jail without bond. The confrontation happened last month outside the couple's home on North Normandy Boulevard after the teen drove their daughter home. Deputies say Malonis blocked the boy's car in the driveway, preventing him from leaving. Investigators say Malonis then started hitting the teen's car with a black metal pipe and held a knife toward his neck. Meanwhile, authorities say Lambert-Tiru stood in front of the vehicle, yelling and waving what the teen described as a small black handgun.
She has no prior criminal history. She is a school teacher. She brandished a weapon in response to someone pulling up into the driveway. I don't know whether she knows whether that person is the perpetrator or isn't the perpetrator.
During today's hearing, the judge said Malonis played a more significant role in the alleged crime. We also learned Lambert-Tiru is a 6th grade teacher with Volusia County Schools. Both face charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated child abuse.
Well, smoke shops and schools. Orange County is looking at how far smoke shops must be from schools. It's an issue parents have been bringing to our attention for months now. This is just one example, a smoke shop just a short walk away from Olympia High School. There's also a middle school right across the street here. Your Orange County community correspondent Mike Valenti spoke to commissioners about how this discussion could impact the district.
The Orange County commissioner who's bringing forth this proposal told me she was motivated to do so because she heard a lot of concerns about a smoke shop that's a short walk away from Olympia High School behind me and Chain of Lakes Middle School across the street.
What we're doing is we're trying to protect young people.
Commissioner Nicole Wilson discussing her proposal of a zoning change. No new smoke shops within 1,000 feet of a public or private school in Orange County.
But if we can prevent that day-to-day exposure and the familiarity and the desensitization, why wouldn't we?
Earlier this year, Commissioner Wilson wrote a memo to her fellow commissioners broaching these concerns. And she pointed to an example in her own district, Olympia High School, pretty close to a smoke shop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we were working on deadline, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, we decided to do a quick measurement ourselves. Just how close is that smoke shop to Olympia High School? 98, 99, 100. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to the school property line now. Maybe don't have a perfect count, but you definitely get the point. This school is within less than 500 feet of the smoke shop.
Almost immediately, when that first opened up, I got calls from a friend of mine in the area who's a nurse who said, oh my gosh, how can we do this? We're seeing kids, younger and younger getting addicted. And that started the conversation. And then I had a municipal partner reach out from the city of Windermere.
We reached out to the owner of this store to get their perspective, but we have yet to hear back. And Wilson says her proposal would actually not affect this shop at all. It would be a zoning change for any future stores that may pop up.
Being able to protect our young people is really the goal here. It's not to put anybody out of business.
There's not going to be a vote on this topic at Tuesday's meeting, but commissioners are expected to hammer out the language in order to craft a potential ordinance. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, your Orange County community correspondent. Back to you.
New at 5, a former Flagler County paramedic convicted of sexually assaulting an unconscious patient will now spend even more time behind bars. James Melady has been sentenced to an additional 5 years in prison and 10 years of probation in an unrelated Volusia County case involving burglary, video voyeurism, and criminal mischief. Those sentences will run consecutively to the 10-year prison sentence he received earlier this year for sexual battering an unconscious patient inside an ambulance. That means he will now serve a total of 15 years in prison, followed by 15 years of probation.
Also new at 5, another dead dog was found at the home of a man who's already accused of animal cruelty in Brevard County. Animal Services recovered another dead dog buried on the property where Donnell Smith lived. He was recently arrested on animal cruelty charges. Investigators have not said whether the new discovery is connected to the case, but they tell us it could lead to more charges. Smith was arrested last month. Deputies found 3 decomposing dogs inside his camper. Investigators say the animals had been left for days without food, water, or air conditioning. Smith is also the boyfriend of the Brevard County woman who was fatally mauled by dogs in May. In that case, the owner of the 2 dogs was arrested and charged with manslaughter. The 2 dogs responsible were euthanized. Expanding research and helping close cases.
A new forensic training and research lab is now open in Lake Nona, designed to give the next generation of forensic scientists hands-on experience with the latest technology. Your Lake Nona community correspondent Amy Russo was there for the unveiling.
It's the first co-located lab in the entire state of Florida. We're talking with the FDLE and UCF. And the hope is that these forensic science students will get their hands-on experience here so that they're better equipped when they go out into the workforce. Getting answers and learning new techniques. This new lab, a partnership between FDLE and UCF, will give students a place to intern, train side by side with working forensic scientists, and help research emerging substances, all while building the skills they'll need to step into full-time forensic careers.
And it really lays out a more realistic expectation for them so they can see their future working in a crime lab or somewhere else.
The real-world experience could also help get new hires up to speed faster.
You need that training for sure, but it also takes away from other individuals who have to train those people. So shortening that time down and getting students coming in with a little base knowledge is really helpful for expediting that process.
We toured the lab, including the equipment used to process evidence and extract drugs from specimens.
So urine often has like sediments, so that's going to separate that from the actual liquid that we use to extract the drug within that specific specimen.
And we even got a hands-on look at how impairment can affect someone's balance and coordination. I'm going to try these goggles on. These are the drug impairment goggles, and our goal is to walk this yellow line. So what does this mean for law enforcement? More staff, more space, and more capacity to support investigations.
Because it allows us to expand. We've been quite restricted on space in forensics for quite some time, and this expansion allows us to do more work and add more people into our ranks.
The FDLE Orlando Forensics Lab already processes about 10,000 cases annually, and now this new lab, it creates even more opportunities for students to learn while moving casework forward. I'm your Lake Nona community correspondent, Amy Russo, News 6.
The state is laying down ground rules for big data centers before they pop up in your community.
The new rules go into effect next week. Coming up, how the law could stop their massive power bills from trickling down to your monthly statement. Are data centers going to get a free lunch in Florida? A new law taking effect July 1st. Make sure there are restrictions on these things. Let's break it down for you. First off, power costs. This law will make sure that extra charges don't get passed on to you. Also, public utilities will not be allowed to provide service to major data centers owned by foreign countries of concern. There will also be a consumptive use permit for large-scale data centers. And the big one, water. Water management districts and the DEP might require large-scale data centers to use some portion of reclaimed water as a part of their CUP approval. Governor Ron DeSantis has already signed the law. It takes effect July 1st. Now, outside of all of these changes, the law also gives local governments authority over zoning, permitting, and land use. I'm Matt Austin, News 6. All right, let's get a check of that weather now. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas there are some storms and some lightning out there.
Yeah, it's the most we've seen across Central Florida in quite some time for sure. Widespread tonight, especially for us along the I-75 corridor. We'll take it closer in again. Lake County, tons of lightning now from the villages, almost closing in on Claremont, back toward Mineola, also on the eastern side of Orange County through the Apopka area, at least on the western side of Seminole County. That storm is starting to decay a little bit around Winter Park. We still have a lot of lightning. Where we have the biggest one right now, there's nothing severe out here, by the way, just a lot of heavy rain, gusty winds, and some lightning. These are trying to pull away from Asatula, Leesburg, again, a lot of the heavy rain, and then there we are in Claremont, a closer look with the heaviest stuff still trying to push through, trying to come in from the west, and then also coming back in from the east with the East Coast sea breeze pushing forward. Rest of the evening, I think we'll continue to watch the flare up further west of Orlando. That's going to be 7 to 8 o'clock tonight, and then we'll gradually watch things begin to wind down. And you notice we have the storms again favoring the western side of the Florida Peninsula. That's the big change this week. That's 5 to 6 o'clock on your Tuesday morning. We are dry to start, and then watch what happens. I think we get an earlier start time on these thunderstorms. That's going to be 1 to 2 o'clock with already a couple of downpours popping. Certainly some stuff on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And then we have the flare up mainly along into the south and to the west of the Florida Turnpike. So the heaviest rain chances, the highest rain chances are going to favor the western half of the Florida Peninsula. Early in the afternoon, of course, some scattered thunderstorms popping along I-95, and then they will quickly push back toward the west and then watch everything blow out through the Gulf. It's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. We have air temperatures back in the lower 80s, reporting the thunderstorm at the airport. The breeze out of the east at about 10 to 15 miles an hour area wide. Toasty again where it has not rained yet. The Villages, we're at 97 degrees, 91 in Palm Coast. Mount Dora, we are hanging out at 95 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we're back to the mid to upper 70s to start. I think we'll see a few extra clouds bubble up on the quicker side tomorrow. And then again, those storms get going and then push themselves from east to west tomorrow. A little bit cooler, if you will. Still hot, of course, but we're back to the lower 90s versus the upper 90s because of the earlier start time of the clouds and thunderstorms. Tropical front, there's still that thing out there, that highlight from the Hurricane Center. It's a very low shot, and it has about a 24 to 36 hour window if it's going to try to organize. You see again that swirl, that cloud mass underneath the yellow. It'll try to push back gradually towards the Carolinas or parts of Georgia, but it should likely fall apart. Even if it does try to organize, the conditions are not favorable for anything significant. So that's going to be a low-end threat. 50% shot on Wednesday for thunderstorms, back to 60% chance on Thursday. Temperature staying into the lower 90s. We're at 93 on Friday. Rain chances back to 60% over the holiday weekend.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, with World Cup tickets selling for tens of thousands of dollars, scammers see an open net.
Yeah, coming up, the one website experts say you should always check before you click buy.
Well, for some soccer fans, the biggest loss isn't on the field.
As World Cup demand drives ticket prices higher, scammers and third-party sellers are leaving some fans without a seat. Now at 5, CBS's Nicole Valdez explains what could go wrong and how to protect your money.
World Cup tickets are hitting all-time high prices this year, with some seats selling for tens of thousands of dollars. But some are paying even more, dealing with chaos and confusion after trying to snag a seat, especially from third-party vendors.
I don't want to overstate this, but it's probably the most frustrating experience I've had in the last 10 years.
Rodrigue Alexander bought tickets for his family to see Haiti play on Father's Day weekend.
My father's Haitian, and when I saw that Haiti made the World Cup, I was thrilled. In early April, got confirmation that the tickets were there, and I said, great, I'm going to a match.
But when they got to Philadelphia Stadium, he realized the seats weren't actually theirs yet.
There were a bunch of other steps that needed to be done between StubHub and FIFA.
So close to kickoff, neither app seemed to be working properly. He saw dozens of other fans dealing with the same issue.
This wasn't well represented by StubHub. StubHub can sell you a ticket, but it's not transferred to you until it's officially done through FIFA.
Rodrigue and his dad never got into the Haiti-Brazil match.
There was a moment that I wanted to experience and I didn't get it, and I can't assign a monetary value to that.
Now, Rodrigue did get a refund, but many others won't. In fact, security experts are warning fans about those third-party resellers and scammers.
We always see the scammers coming out of the woodwork. Now, with the prices of these tickets, that adds a special twist.
The FBI has documented dozens of fake websites pretending to sell tickets.
FIFA Tix, FIFA Online. No, the only legitimate website is FIFA.com.
Experts also warn of reservation scams, travel document scams, and knockoff memorabilia, urging fans to keep their eyes on the ball so scammers won't have a shot. Nicole Valdez, CBS News.
You know that they saw that opportunity coming.
Oh,
yes.
they did, and they made a lot of money on it. Well, a new safety tool could soon change what happens after a shark attack.
President Trump has signed what's called Lulu's Law, and for a state that leads the nation in shark bites, it could help get people out of the water before another person is hurt. Coming up, what you can start to expect as you hit the beach this summer. Plus,
budget discussions amid property tax uncertainty. I'm your Osseo County community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez. The latest city talking about its budget as property tax reform looms in the background.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now, including some new details about a deadly gator attack that killed a 31-year-old woman in Seminole County. FWC says the woman was swimming with her boyfriend and best friend when the gator attacked. Investigators have now trapped 2 big gators. They're still waiting on some lab results to figure out whether they found the gator responsible.
A judge made 2 very different bond decisions today for the Deltona couple accused of threatening a teenage boy after he dropped their daughter off at home. The mother was granted a $35,000 bond along with GPS monitoring and an order to have no contact with her daughter. The father was ordered to remain in jail without bond. Both face charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated child abuse.
Orange County leaders are considering new restrictions on where future smoke shops can open after concerns that one is located just steps away from Olympia High School. A county commissioner wants to ban new smoke shops from opening within 1,000 feet of public or private schools. The proposal would not impact existing businesses, but could change where future smoke shops are allowed. Commissioners are set to discuss the plan tomorrow. A major change could be coming to beaches across the country, including right here in Florida.
President Trump has signed Lulu's Law, creating a path for emergency cell phone warnings after shark attacks. Anchor Ginger Gadsden joins us now in studio with why supporters say those alerts could save lives, especially with the holiday weekend coming up. Ginger.
Yeah, Lisa, for years we've relied on lifeguards, flags, and word of mouth to warn people about dangerous water conditions. Lulu's Law adds something new to the mix. The law directs the FCC to allow wireless emergency alerts similar to Amber Alerts when there is a confirmed shark attack. So when people nearby, they can be warned immediately. And that's especially important in Florida, which consistently leads the country in shark bites. The law is named after Lulu Gribben, the Alabama team who was attacked by a shark in 2024 while vacationing in Florida's Panhandle. She lost her left hand and part of her right leg. Investigators say another woman had been attacked just 90 minutes earlier and only a few miles away. Supporters believe if beachgoers had some of those attacks been warned about it, those attacks would have been prevented.
We figured out that there was another shark attack before me, and it was just 90 minutes before me, 3 miles down the coast. And if I would have known that, there would have been no way that I would be swimming in the water.
Now, under the new law, the FCC has 180 days to establish the process for sending those emergency warnings. Again, the alerts would be similar to the wireless alerts people already receive for tornadoes, Amber Alerts, and other imminent dangers. Last year, Florida again led the nation in reported shark bites, with Volusia County recording the most in the state. Supporters say the goal here is simple: get people out of the water faster and prevent another family from experiencing what Lulu's did. Matt and Lisa, back to you.
All right, Ginger, thank you. We are waiting to find out whether an accidental gunshot during a downtown Orlando fight will lead to criminal charges. Orlando police say officers responded to Church Street and Orange Avenue around 2:30 Sunday morning. Investigators say 2 groups got into a fight. When a woman was punched in the face, her brother pulled out a gun and used it to hit the other person, but police say the gun accidentally fired, hitting his own sister in the foot. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Everyone involved was detained, then released as detectives continue their investigation. Police say a decision on possible charges will come after that investigation is complete.
New at 5 now, the truck believed to be involved in a deadly hit and run in South Florida has been found in Osceola County, but the driver is still missing. FHP says investigators tracked down that white 99 Ford Ranger with front-end damage after what troopers called exhaustive investigative efforts. The truck is believed to have hit and killed a man who was crossing US 27 near Francisco Street in Hendry County early Saturday morning. The victim's identity has not been released, and troopers are still searching for the driver who left the scene. Anyone with info about this truck or the driver should call FHP or Crime Stoppers.
Time heals all wounds, not when you lose a child.
More More than a decade after Trayvon Martin was shot and killed in Sanford, his mom continues to turn her grief into a message of hope. Sabrina Fulton was in Jacksonville this weekend, joining other moms who have lost children to violence. They gathered to remember their loved ones and remind each other they do not have to grieve alone. Reporter Haja Bah shows us how these moms are finding strength in each other.
The heartbreak of losing a child to violence. The Angel of Mine brunch hosted by Silent Woman Speaking Foundation in Jacksonville created a space to remember their children, find comfort, and support one another. Tanya Irish traveled from Maryland just 4 months after her son was killed.
So my son lived in Charles County, and he was going through a mental crisis. And law enforcement approached him. They were trying to serve him a protection order. And when they approached him, he was going through a mental stage at that point. We didn't know he had a weapon, but he pulled out a machete. And once he pulled out the machete, law enforcement shot him 11 times with the first bullet hitting him, killing him.
Saying being surrounded by other mothers who understand her pain reminded her she doesn't have to grieve alone.
So we need these kind of functions. We need these kind of organizations to help us be able to come together as one and be able to share our story, be able to share cries, laughter, but that's sisterhood.
I spoke with special guest speaker Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin, sharing the years after losing her son.
Time heals all wounds. Not when you lose a child. Not when you lose a child. It takes time, and you have to have grace for yourself. But the main thing that I push is self-care and making sure that you're taking care of yourself, because as moms, we're nurturers, and we feel like we got to take care of everybody else, and we leave ourselves out.
Fulton says while Trayvon Martin's life was cut short, his legacy continues to live on through the conversations he sparked.
My son's legacy is just to know basically that our children matter. A lot of times people think that because of the color of their skin that they don't matter. Our children matter just as much as anybody else's child. And so I just want to say to all of those moms whose children are in jail, whose children are disabled, whose children are deceased, just keep your head up and know that God is working through you, and you got to continue to do the work.
Well, a toy gun, a mistaken identity, and a dangerous confrontation that ended with both an adult and a teenager under arrest. Port St. Lucie police say a man and his fiancée called 911 after they say teens in an SUV shot their car with an Orbeez gel blaster. Believing they were targeting other drivers, the couple followed the vehicle while staying on the phone with dispatchers. When the teens pulled over, police say 49-year-old Gregory Davis held them at gunpoint until officers arrived.
Why were you guys shooting an Orbeez gun at cars? No, we weren't shooting. No, not at all. She sat down because we thought it was our friend. Right? It was your friend. Because you know the senior game when you have like a water gun and you shoot your friend with the water gun and they're out of the game so they can't play no more. No, I haven't seen it. So you thought they were your friend? Yes, because our friend exactly Toyota.
One 15-year-old is now charged with shooting into an occupied vehicle. Davis was also arrested, facing charges including aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and false imprisonment of a child. Now, the case comes just over a month after News 6 reported 2 Seminole County teens were arrested, accused of shooting pedestrians with gel blasters in Oviedo and Winter Springs, leaving victims with painful welts. Here's Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver spoke with one of the victims who says the situation could have ended much worse.
My husband, he carries a gun. And honestly, he for a minute thought I got shot. And these kids playing this joke, he could have returned fire.
Police say what some see as a harmless prank can quickly escalate into a dangerous crime, and they urge anyone who has been targeted to call 911 and let officers handle the situation.
In just under an hour, Kissimmee leaders are bracing for a massive financial hit as they look to lock in next year's budget. Tonight, the city is holding a critical workshop to prepare for what they call a worst-case scenario. In November, voters will decide on a bombshell ballot measure that could drastically eliminate property taxes for millions of homeowners. As your Osceola County community correspondent Stephanie Rodriguez reports, it sounds like a win for your wallet, but local officials warn it could gut Kissimmee's funding for essential services.
The city of Kissimmee is set to talk about its budget, and this discussion comes at a time when other cities and counties, including Osceola County and the city of St. Cloud, are talking about their budgets in anticipation of deep property tax cuts. As voters get ready to decide if property taxes will be drastically cut, cities are having budget discussions, many trying to map out what happens if it passes. Here's what would change. The first $150,000 of a homestead property's value would be exempt from taxation, a number that would go up to $250,000 in 2028.
It's like a bittersweet kind of,
Julio Pina likes the idea of paying less, but worries it could lead to problems long term.
I mean, I love a break in anything that we can find, but it's a little concerning when you take into consideration that like our police department gets paid off of it, our fire department, like everybody gets paid off of it, the schooling and stuff.
Several Central Florida cities have made it clear this would cost a lot. The mayor of Sanford said the city would lose $15 million, while Ocoee projects losing up to $8 million by 2028. In Kissimmee, it could leave a big dent. Homestead properties make up more than half of the homes here in Kissimmee. Almost 63% have the homestead exemption. We've seen cities discuss offsetting the loss by raising other fees. Travis Bergner is fine with that for essential services, as long as he's saving on property taxes.
That's thousands of dollars in my pocket, going toward my family, going toward my kids, toward our future. And again, the things that, if there are extra costs, fire fees, things like that, then that's something I'd be willing to allocate some of that money toward.
Now, the amendment will go before voters in November. It does need 60% approval to pass. I'm your Osceola County community correspondent, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Well, a lost Orlando time capsule back from 1976 unearthed by accident at Lake Eola.
Coming up, how the items inside reveal what life looked like here the last time America hit a major birthday. Jonathan.
Some really nasty thunderstorms tonight, especially moving through Lake County. We have the brunt of it right now, also in a parts of Sumter County. You see that box there? Special weather statement beyond 6 o'clock. I'm tracking where that is headed for you guys coming up at about 5:47.
Ew. I found something that's actually going to remove odors instead of masking them.
This TikTok video shows a Kissimmee police officer in uniform selling a product online. Coming up, I'll show you what the police department's rules say about such social media posts.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
So if you guys are interested, I'm going to have a link down below. If you see the orange card, that means it's still available.
This video shows a detective with the Kissimmee Police Department in uniform advertising a product for sale on her personal TikTok page. Shortly after News 6 began asking questions about it, the TikTok video disappeared. Florida law enforcement officers are generally allowed to post videos and photos on social media, but many agencies have rules limiting what they can share online.
If you guys are new here, my name is Millian, and I've been in law enforcement for going on 4 years now in July.
This is Millian Lagares, a detective with the Kissimmee Police Department's Major Crimes Unit.
What is a TikTok?
Like some law enforcement officers, Lagares has a TikTok page featuring both personal and professional content, including these clips that appear to show the detective posing at her desk.
If you want to smell like a vanilla cake with heavy caramel drizzle and whipped cream on top, Cream Velvet by Cod Lodge.
Many of her videos advertise products for sale.
And I'm going to have a link down below for you guys on my TikTok shop. It's going to be my TikTok shop. Now this is 30% off on the TikTok shop.
In most of the ads, the detective is dressed in her civilian clothing.
Ew. I found something that's actually going to remove odors instead of masking them.
But recently, Lagares posted this video while wearing her Kissimmee Police Department uniform.
I use it on shoes, tactical items, pet gear.
The video, which included this image, advertised the sale of a deodorant spray.
I just take off my vest, I spray it directly with the Arrest My Vest spray. And it honestly just leaves it smelling so fresh.
In another video selling eyeglasses, Lagares was also featured in her uniform. The Kissimmee Police Department, like many law enforcement agencies, has a policy addressing social media use. According to that policy, agency members are free to express themselves as private citizens on social media sites, but they're warned that speech on or off duty may form the basis for discipline if deemed detrimental to the agency. For safety and security reasons, agency members are cautioned to avoid displaying agency logos, uniforms, or similar identifying information. Also, agency members may not make any statements, speeches, appearances, endorsements, or publish materials that could reasonably be considered to represent the views or positions of the agency without written permission from the chief.
So if you guys are interested, I'm going to have a link down below.
After I began asking questions about the videos of Lagares selling products while in uniform, they disappeared from her TikTok page and are now unavailable. Detective Lagares did not respond to my questions about her TikTok videos. A spokesperson for the Kissimmee Police Department tells me the agency is reviewing those videos for potential policy violations. Mike DeForest, News 6.
All right, I want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. We just got another warning that popped up for Sumter County.
That's right. Yeah, we're talking about that nasty line of thunderstorm sliding through Lake and Sumter and on the northern nub, if you will, as the storm expands further to the west. That's where we have the warning now until 6:30. This does include us in Coleman, Monarch, and Wildwood. We'll take it closer in. The heaviest part of the storm, the strongest part of the storm, is pretty much right over Monarch right now, where we have that purple core, that lavender color there. That's where we're likely seeing at least some small hail. The biggest deal with this is going to be wind gusts, as it is really, really warm. A lot of that hail going to mount, at least in size anyway, but by the time it gets to the surface. But Adamsville, that's an early heads up for you that it is raining heavily right now. It is certainly windy, but you might even get in on some small hail in the next few minutes. Let me zoom out and just show you again for perspective where this is. Fruitland Park, you're likely seeing the darker clouds to your west. This one should slide just to your south and west. So put the loop on here for you so you can see the kind of progression of this, how it just flared up very, very quickly on the northern edge of that long cell, if you will, that we've been tracking through Lake County for about the last hour and a half now. Again, Coleman, that's an early heads up for you too. You see that purple kind of pinwheeling back toward us. We might get in on some of the hail and the very strong winds, potentially in excess of 60 miles an hour as that moves from northwest to southeast. I'm going to put a stop on that for you. We're going to work out of the Tampa radar again to make sure that we're getting the best radar data. We'll check in on some of the velocity there. And this is far away from the Tampa radar, so it doesn't show us everything that we have as it's again, we're using the radar out of the Tampa Bay area. I'll zoom out to show you exactly where that sweep is coming in from. This is kind of in the notorious almost dead zone between the three big radars that we have. So we don't get the clearest information, but certainly that is a very nasty thunderstorm. This really extends all the way back down to the Orange County line. We'll work out of the Melbourne radar now to get a view of the stuff over Lake Apopka, especially on the south side, closer to Claremont. Look at all the lightning again. This is not severe for us, but certainly some very heavy rain very gusty winds from Mineola back to Montford and Claremont. We'll turn the loop back on again to show you the progression of this line. And this has been moving from the northeast back onto the southwest side of Lake Apopka, and that's going to continue to work toward Mascot even further, and then eventually sink back down to the south and west, as again, this is part of that bigger pattern change that will start to favor the western side of the Florida Peninsula in terms of those thunderstorms. So that's 6 o'clock tonight. I think Future Radar doing a very nice job. It's just missing out on the northern extent of that, but there it is, extending the stronger thunderstorms back through Lake County and parts of Polk and Osceola counties. That's 9 to 10 o'clock tonight, hanging on to a few stray downpours, but we'll start to really wind things down. Now, once we get into tomorrow, I think we'll have an earlier start time for those storms. This is lunchtime to 1 o'clock. And they'll get things started again right along the I-95 corridor, and then watch what happens quickly blowing off towards the west, giving the best opportunity for rain pretty much along and to the southwest of the Florida Turnpike for tomorrow. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
And again, those best chances, wherever we'll see the opportunity for rain along I-95, but the heaviest rain certainly going to be closer to the Florida Turnpike in west. 93 degrees on Tuesday. We're back to 92 on Wednesday. 50% shot for thunderstorms, hanging in the lower 90s through the holiday weekend. 50% shot for afternoon thunderstorms on the 4th of July.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, as the U.S. prepares to turn 250, Orlando just opened a gift left behind from our 200th birthday.
Coming up, the items inside a long-lost Lake Eola time capsule and the new plan to bury another box so future Orlando residents can see the city beautiful we know today.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Going back to 1976, I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting at Orlando City Hall. These are the contents of a time capsule that was buried right here in the City Beautiful 50 years ago, and on Monday morning, it was opened for the first time. Buried at Lake Eola by the Kiwanis Club of Orlando, this time capsule was long forgotten, with no official record marking its existence. It was recently discovered during construction, and after some research, it was found to have been placed in the ground in 1976, when Orlando only had a population of 116,000, meant for us to open 50 years later. With cassette tapes, a phone book, newspapers, and so much more from that era of American history, it gave a peek into life back then.
A lot of the items are just very reminiscent of the bicentennial, but also there's a lot of information in there. There are a lot of keepsakes from the various Kiwanis clubs around Central Florida. So it kind of makes it really special for Kiwanis, actually.
It's still unclear how the items will be preserved. And in 50 years from now, another time capsule could be opened right here in Orlando. The Kiwanis Club is working to put one together to give the future City Beautiful a peek into the past. Reporting in Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
A teen drops off a girl at home. Then he says her parents pulled a gun and a knife on him. Now that couple is hoping to get out of jail after a confrontation with police. At 6, who's walking out of jail and who's staying behind bars? Plus, a push to keep smoke shops far away from schools in Orange County. Why school leaders want to see the change and what school is now at the center of the conflict. A live look over downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Somebody got bit by a gator.
Bad, real bad, please, hurry.
That desperate 911 call after a woman is attacked by an alligator while swimming in the Yukon River. Tonight, 2 massive gators removed from the water, but investigators still can't say if they found the one that killed her. Plus, scattered showers ramping up in parts of central Florida. A look at the radar as you head home. And
rethinking the location of smoke shops. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, and coming up, Orange County commissioners are slated to discuss how close one of these smoke shops should be to a school.
News 6 at 6 starts now.
We have to start you off with weather on this Weather Aware Day. As of about 20 seconds ago, we just had our severe thunderstorm warnings drop off for Sumter County. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. Still some nasty stuff out there, though.
Yeah, watching a lot of thunder and lightning, guys. That warning was a very short fuse warning, and it lasted about 10 minutes in total here. It pulsed up and then really just kind of fell apart. You see all the purples have gone away, and that is obviously a good thing here that we lost that core. As it does so, may have had those wind gusts in excess of 60 miles an hour. We're still watching some very heavy rain around Wildwood, Brownwood tonight. Coleman, good evening. We're watching some of that heavy rain again work from north to south this evening as it continues to slide back towards Sumterville and Lake Panasoffkee with a slight jog back to the south and east. We also have some nasty thunderstorms closer to Montverde, Claremont, back toward Oakland tonight. I'll put a little loop on this for you. Over the last 15 minutes, you can see the progression of this thunderstorm as it kind of works its way back and kind of retrogrades closer to Lake Apopka, eventually Oakland, and early heads up in Windermere. I have my eyes on this. I'll track this a little bit further for you into your neighborhood coming up at about 6:17, guys.
All right, we'll check back in a few. Jonathan, now at 6, brand new details in a deadly gator attack in Seminole County.
A 31-year-old woman swimming in the Yukon River was killed. Her boyfriend and her best friend both tried to save her life. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, shares some of the 911 calls made by her loved ones.
Somebody got bit by a gator.
Bad, real bad, please, hurry.
The call came from a best friend and boyfriend whose 31-year-old loved one needed help now.
Please, we're right off the water.
That call directed first responders here to the Barr Street trailhead, about half a mile from the Yukon River, where wildlife officials say the group went swimming Sunday afternoon.
They were hiking and they just stopped to swim. Right now, in this part of our investigation, it doesn't seem like they were doing anything that was malicious to an alligator.
FWC says they are still trying to understand why the alligator attacked. What they know so far is the woman was bitten on both of her arms. Her boyfriend tried to get her out of the animal's mouth.
The boyfriend was able to, while maintaining a hold of the victim, the gator did release.
They were only in about 3 feet of water.
It could be any number of things. You know, with low water levels that we have, we are coming into the end of mating season. Alligators become very territorial.
After searching the area, trappers found and harvested 2 large gators.
It's this time of year.
Brandon Fisher, an alligator expert at Gatorland, says summer is breeding and nesting season.
It could have very well been a mom protected her nest. It could have been one just hanging out swimming. A 12-foot alligator, which is a big male alligator, could fully submerge in 1.5 feet of water and you not be able to see it, especially if it's really dark water.
An estimated 1.3 million alligators call Florida home. Fatal attacks are rare. This is the 7th since 2020.
They're built to be here in Florida and built to camouflage and hide really well. But if they get scared, they get spooked, they're going to protect themselves.
Right now, the trailhead is closed. You can see this sign. There are existing signs here warning visitors that there are alligators in this area. FWC says they will have to wait for lab results to confirm without a doubt that that 13-foot gator is the one that was involved in this encounter. As for the woman, FWC is not releasing her name publicly until all of her family has been notified. They say she is 31 years old and she's from Orlando. In Seminole County, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Now, this is actually the 3rd gator attack in Central Florida this month. The FWC says a child was bitten on the hand by an 8-foot 7-inch alligator at Nelson's Fish Camp in Umatilla on Saturday. An FWC trapper later removed and killed the animal. And last Sunday, a snorkeler was bitten while swimming at Rainbow Springs State Park in Marion County. Officials say that alligator was 8 feet long. FWC says serious injuries caused by alligators are rare, but if you encounter a nuisance gator or have concerns about one, contact the agency immediately.
Well, two Deltona parents, one of them a school teacher, accused of threatening a teen with a knife and gun, were back in front of a judge. Deputies say they confronted the teen who drove their daughter home. Rosa Lamortiru and Lance Mulonis were arrested last week. They have since been in jail the whole time, but fought to be let out on bond. Your Volusia County community correspondent was in the courtroom today and has an update.
Rosa Lamortiru will be let out on bond and given a GPS ankle monitor when she is out, but Lance Molnas will have to stay in jail. Volusia deputies arrested Lamortiru and Molnas after a confrontation outside their home in Deltona last week. Deputies say it started when a 16-year-old drove the couple's daughter home. Molnas reportedly blocked the driveway, hit the teen's car with a black metal pipe, and later held a knife to the teen's neck. Lamortiru stood in front of the vehicle yelling and waving what the teen described to deputies as a small black handgun. The judge at this bond hearing found his actions to be more calculated.
She has no prior criminal history. She is a school teacher. She brandished a weapon in response to someone pulling up into the driveway. I don't know whether she knows whether that person is the perpetrator or isn't the perpetrator.
And when Lamortiru gets out of jail and out on bond, she is also not supposed to have any contact with the teens. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
We are asking Volusia Schools what her status as a 6th grade teacher at River Springs Middle School is. We will let you know when we hear back from them.
New at 6, a Marion County mom will spend the next 30 years in prison. A judge handed down that sentence today, 6.5 years after her infant son died with meth in his system. Melissa Schroer's 2-month-old, Waylon, was found unresponsive by one of his siblings, died at the hospital in 2019. Detectives say during the investigation, Schroer and her husband Jeffrey left the state, were found 2 years later living in Kentucky. Again, Melissa has been sentenced to 30 years in jail in this aggravated manslaughter case. Jeffrey is charged with the same crime and is pending prosecution.
This week marks 3 years of an unsolved homicide case in Lady Lake. The police department is asking for the public's help for information. In 2023, 20-year-old Bryson Swift Leverett was killed and another person was hurt in a shooting outside his home at 104 Caroline Avenue. Investigators say the victims were leaving the home around 12:45 in the morning when they were ambushed by multiple suspects who had guns. The investigation remains active and detectives continue to follow any leads. They are asking anyone with information to reach out to the Lady Lake Police Department. There is a reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to an arrest.
Happening right now, city leaders in Kissimmee begin their first budget workshop. The proposed constitutional amendment would exempt the first $150,000 of a homesteaded property's value from property taxes. That exemption rises to $250,000 in 2028. So cities across Central Florida say the change would cost millions if you vote for it in November. Sanford estimates a $15 million loss. Ocoee says it'll lose $8 million by 2028, and in Kissimmee, nearly 63% of homes have a homestead exemption.
I love a break in anything that we can find, but it's a little concerning when you take into consideration that like our police department gets paid off of it, our fire department, like everybody gets paid off of it, the schooling and stuff.
That's thousands of dollars in my pocket, you know, going toward my family, going toward my kids, toward our future. And again, the things that if there are extra costs, fire fees, things like that, then that's something I'd be willing to allocate some of that money toward.
The proposed amendment goes before voters in November and would need 60% approval to pass. As for tonight's budget workshop, we'll keep you posted on clickorlando.com.
A first-of-its-kind partnership in Florida is giving the next generation of forensic scientists a head start. The FDLE and UCF have opened a shared forensics lab.
Yeah, News 6's Amy Russo takes us inside where students will train right next to professionals to help solve crimes.
It's the first co-located lab in the entire state of Florida. We're talking with the FDLE and UCF. And the hope is that these forensic science students will get their hands-on experience here so that they're better equipped when they go out into the workforce.
Getting answers and learning new techniques. This new lab, a partnership between FDLE and UCF,
will give students a place to intern, train side by side with working forensic scientists, and help research emerging substances, all while building the skills they'll need to step into full-time forensic careers.
And it really lays out a more realistic expectation for them so they can see their future working in a crime lab or somewhere else.
The real-world experience could also help get new hires up to speed faster.
You need that training for sure, but it also takes away from other individuals who have to train those people. So shortening that time down and getting students coming in with a little base knowledge is really helpful for expediting that process.
We toured the lab, including the equipment used to process evidence and extract drugs from specimens.
So urine often has like sediments, so that's going to separate that from the actual liquid that we use to extract the drug within that specific specimen.
And we even got a hands-on look at how impairment can affect someone's balance and coordination. I'm going to try these goggles on. These are the drug impairment goggles, and our goal is to walk this yellow line. So what does this mean for law enforcement? More staff, more space, and more capacity to support investigations.
Because it allows us to expand. We've been quite restricted on space in forensics for quite some time, and this expansion allows us to do more work and add more people into our ranks.
The FDLE Orlando Forensics Lab already processes about 10,000 cases annually, and now this new lab, it creates even more opportunities for students to learn while moving casework forward. I'm your Lake Nona community correspondent, Amy Russo, News 6.
Well, there's now a new push to put more distance between students and smoke shops.
We're talking at least 1,000 feet of distance. Straight ahead, the proposal being debated in Orange County and why one shop near Olympia High is at the center of the conversation.
Plus, no free pass for big data centers, why Florida is cracking down on water use, foreign-owned facilities, and who pays the cost.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
smoke shops and schools. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, your Orange County community correspondent. And on Tuesday, county commissioners are expected to tackle a proposal that would establish a buffer zone separating schools and smoke shops.
What we're doing is we're trying to protect young people.
Commissioner Nicole Wilson discussing her proposal of a zoning change. No new smoke shops within 1,000 feet of a public or private school in Orange County.
But if we can prevent that day-to-day exposure and the familiarity and the desensitization, why wouldn't we?
Earlier this year, Commissioner Wilson wrote a memo to her fellow commissioners broaching these concerns. And she pointed to an example in her own district, Olympia High School, pretty close to a smoke shop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Since we were working on deadline, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, we decided to do a quick measurement ourselves. Just how close is that smoke shop to Olympia High School? 98, 99, 100. Okay, so we're getting pretty close to the school property line now. Maybe don't have a perfect count, but you definitely get the point. This school is within less than 500 feet of the smoke shop.
Almost immediately, when that first opened up, I got calls from a friend of mine in the area who's a nurse who said, oh my gosh, how can we do this? We're seeing kids, younger and younger getting addicted. And that started the conversation. And then I had a municipal partner reach out from the city of Windermere.
We reached out to the owner of this store to get their perspective, but we have yet to hear back. And Wilson says her proposal would actually not affect this shop at all. It would be a zoning change for any future stores that may pop up.
Being able to protect our young people is really the goal here. It's not to put anybody out of business.
There's not going to be a vote on this topic at Tuesday's meeting, but commissioners are expected to hammer out the language in order to craft a potential ordinance. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti, your Orange County community correspondent. Back to you.
Governor Ron DeSantis has signed Florida's new state budget just 2 days before the new fiscal year is set to begin. The $114.5 billion spending plan comes after lawmakers needed a special session to break a deadlock over spending. The governor also cut more than $800 million from the final budget using his veto power. The plan includes more than $30 billion for K-12 public schools, $1.5 billion to help raise teacher pay, and $665 million for Everglades restoration. DeSantis says this is the fourth straight year Florida has reduced its overall budget, while also cutting state debt and shrinking the state workforce.
We're leaving it better than we found it. No question that we're stronger. No question that we're fiscally responsible. No question that we've met all the challenges that have come before us.
DeSantis also signed off on a tax package which is estimated to cut state and local revenue by $272 million in the next fiscal year. It revives a hunting, fishing, and camping sales tax holiday created last year to run from September through December. The package also moves Florida's annual back-to-school sales tax holiday to July 20th through August 20th rather than for all of August.
Well, Orlando's looking back at a piece of history buried during the nation's bicentennial. It's a 50-year-old time capsule opened today after being discovered during a little construction at Lake Eola. That capsule was buried by the Kiwanis Club of Orlando back in 1976 when the city had about 116,000 people and was intended to be open about a half century later. Inside, there were items that captured life at the time. We had cassette tapes, a phone book, remember those bad boys, newspapers and keepsakes from Kiwanis clubs all across Central Florida.
A lot of the items are just very reminiscent of the bicentennial, but also there's a lot of information in there. There are a lot of keepsakes from the various Kiwanis clubs around Central Florida. So it kind of makes it really special for Kiwanis.
Those books have seen better days. The club says it's now planning to create a new time capsule so future generations can get their own glimpse into today's Orlando. See, I wonder if they put a phone book in there because they knew that was a technology that was going away eventually.
It just was a thing. Everyone used a phone book in 1976. Everyone.
It was a labor of love to try to call somebody back then.
Oh my gosh.
All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joining us now. That radar is lit up tonight.
It is, yeah. Watching especially west of Orlando. We've been hanging out with you guys in parts of Marion County, Sumter County, into Lake County. We have a new cell that's popping up. This northern line of this thunderstorms we've been tracking continues to expand northward as it moves to the south and west. So this is an early heads up in Bellevue that we do have a nasty thunderstorm kind of developing just on the south side of Ocala. You saw that flare up of purple already working its way back down. Still had that same amount of dry air in the mid levels of our atmosphere like we did last year. So these things go up quick and then also collapse pretty quick as well. But as they collapse, that's where you get that wind gust. That's why you get those quick warnings like we just had in parts of Sumter County. Still some very, very heavy rain. This one's trying to push back a little bit to the east. You see that easterly jog on the last frame from Wildwood. Again, early heads up again in the villages. You're in between two nasty thunderstorms where we have more development hanging around Leesburg tonight, where you see that flare up of purple. There could be some small hail in that. By the way, we did have that report of some smaller hail as we were watching that storm go through parts of Sumter County. Further to the south and east, back under the southwestern side of Orange County, Oakland, we gave you the early heads up that we were watching that building back from the west to your east. Now we have some of the heavier rain, especially on the south side of town, just to the east of the Turnpike, back toward Mineola and Claremont. The rain is trying to lighten up a little bit. It is still very, very heavy tonight. We'll zoom you back out and watching some extra development on the eastern side of Seminole and Orange County. This is Bithlo into Chuliota into Christmas tonight. Very heavy rain. You see the lightning count. Only about 6 or 7 strikes for us tonight through Lake Pickett into Chuliota. Still, that one's going to continue to venture off towards the south and west and eventually fizzle out over the next 45 minutes to an hour. Clouds and rain forecast, again, kind of petering out on the west side of Central Florida as we get towards that 8-9 o'clock hour. So still about an hour or two to go before we get a nice clean sweep on the radar. There's 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Everybody's going to be on the drier side. I think we do get things started on the earlier side of things tomorrow. So there's lunchtime to 2 o'clock. And I'll be looking especially right along I-95 to get things going with a few showers and a real grumble of thunder. And then quickly everything blows up and flares up towards the Turnpike and west. So the highest rain chances tomorrow, if you drew a line right on down the Florida Peninsula, going to be on the western side as we are blowing everything from the Atlantic back over to the Gulf side, just like what we're seeing tonight. There's a live look downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. We have air temperatures back in the lower 80s, the breeze out of the east at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Temperatures tomorrow in the low to mid 90s. Rain chances at 70%, especially on the west side. The further west you are towards the Gulf side, that's going to be your highest opportunity for thunderstorms. 50% shot for storms on Wednesday, 60% chance on Thursday. Getting into your holiday weekend, rain chances holding about typical this time of the year, 50% on Saturday, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Straight ahead, Florida is putting new limits on massive data centers. The new law aims to protect your power bill, your water, and local communities.
Are data centers going to get a free lunch in Florida? A new law taking effect July 1st. Make sure there are restrictions on these things. Let's break it down for you. First off, power costs. This law will make sure that extra charges don't get passed on to you. Also, public utilities will not be allowed to provide service to major data centers owned by foreign countries of concern. There will also be a consumptive use permit for large-scale data centers. And the big one, water. Water management districts and the DEP might require large-scale data centers to use some portion of reclaimed water as a part of their CUP approval. Governor Ron DeSantis has already signed the law. It takes effect July 1st. Now, outside of all of these changes, the law also gives local governments authority over zoning, permitting, and land use. I'm Matt Austin, News 6.
All right, a little while ago, it was coming down out there.
Yeah, it still is for a lot of people, especially to the southwest of Orlando, right down the I-75 corridor. So we'll be tracking that for you through the evening. Storm chances stay elevated tomorrow, especially on the west side of Central Florida. That's going to be the key. You're drier closer to the coast you are. 50% shot on Wednesday. We're going to keep the rain chances and storm chances elevated through the holiday weekend. It's not going to be a total loss. This is now our typical summertime pattern settling right back in.
Okay, we're used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Got it.
All right, thanks for watching News 6. We have more weather coming up for you and news coming up on clickorlando.com at 9 o'clock.
We'll see you then. Have a good night. Bye. I'm News 6 anchor Ginger Gadsden. Here's a look at today's top stories. The Deltona couple accused of threatening a 16-year-old boy with a knife and handgun after he dropped their daughter off at home faced a judge. The judge granted Rosa Tiru a $35,000 bond, ordering her to wear a GPS monitor and have no contact with her daughter. Her husband, Lance Molanes, was ordered to remain in jail without bond. The judge said Molanes played a more significant role in the alleged crime than Tiru. We also learned Tiru is a sixth grade teacher with Volusia County Schools. Both face charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and aggravated child abuse. A former Flagler County paramedic convicted of sexually assaulting an unconscious patient will now spend even more time behind bars. James Melody was sentenced to an additional 5 years in prison and 10 years of probation in an unrelated Volusia County case involving burglary, video voyeurism, and criminal mischief. That means he will now serve a total of 15 years in prison, followed by 15 years of probation. Animal Services recovered another dead dog buried on the property where Donnell Smith lived in Brevard County. He was recently arrested on animal cruelty charges. Investigators have not said whether the new discovery is connected to the case, but they tell us it could lead to additional charges. Smith was arrested last month after deputies found 3 decomposing dogs inside his camper. Investigators say the animals had been left there for days without food, water, or air conditioning. That's it for now. We'll have a look at your forecast in the next 15 minutes.